Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. Welcome if you are a Rams fan or a Vikings fan. I'm the G, and this is Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Wow. Absolutely wow is what I have to say tonight. It is insane when you think about it. The Los Angeles Rams. Let me tell y'all something. Defense wins championships. And I am not going to bash Sam Darnold. When you get sacked 9 times, when you're on the ground 9 times in a playoff game, you want to talk about quarterback pressure? Man, I'm watching this game and I'm wondering, where are the linemen for the Minnesota Vikings? The Minnesota Vikings got exposed. And it's not Sam Darnold that got exposed. The Minnesota Vikings got exposed. They're not quite there yet. Wide receivers, good. Great. Running back, good to great. Defense, pretty good. But what I told y'all, and some of y'all have been telling me, we know what wins championships. When you can control both lines of scrimmage, you win a bunch of games. A bunch of games. The Rams control the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. They came right out. And made their impression felt. Let's talk facts. We'll be talking some more about the Mike McCarthy thing. The Mike McCarthy saga is so funny to me. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Rams and the Vikings here starting out. And then we're gonna circle the block back on this thing about Mike McCarthy. There's so many things that are coming out about the Mike McCarthy thing, and it is insane. I mean, just watch, man, the stories that we're going to see until the Dallas Cowboys hire a coach is going to be absolutely insane. It's like everything the Dallas Cowboys do is magnified. I'm just being for real. We're acting like. Let me get this game done first. I'm going to circle back on Mike McCarthy, because if I start on Mike McCarthy, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop if I start on Mike McCarthy. So let's look at this game real quick. So this was the last playoff game of the playoff weekend. And I have to tell you, I was shocked. I'm not necessarily shocked that the Rams won. Let me go back to my prediction. Now, my prediction is off on this game. For the same reason, I mean, I'm not Nostradamus or anything like that. So don't let me I'm not trying to imply something like that. But I bet you everyone's prediction on this game was skewed. My head said 28-10. My head said 28-10. Score turned out to be 27-9. But I actually thought that was going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I thought it was going to be the Minnesota Vikings. And I thought with my heart that if the Vikings played a great game, if the Rams played a great game, because I've seen the Vikings put up points this season. The Vikings have put up points this season, even on the Detroit Lions, minus the last game. I literally thought that it might get to a shootout and they win it 34-31 because I figured that Sean McVay would probably come to play. My whole prediction was thrown simply because no one could have predicted this. If you're going to tell me that Sam Darnold is going to get sacked 9 times? 9 times. I'm not blaming this on Sam Darnold. I'm just not blaming this on Sam Darnold. Let's look at this. Everybody got a piece of this man. Young, 1.5 sacks. Witherspoon, 1 sack. Gallimore, 1.5 sacks. What does that equal to? 4. Turner, 2 sacks. That's 6. Got a 0.5 sack on Hoyt. Durant, 7, 8, 9 times. You're telling me, I don't care who your quarterback is, fill in the blank. If the Houston Texans, you can book it. If the Houston Texans harass Patrick Mahomes the way Sam Darnold got harassed tonight, we are literally going to watch the upset of the weekend, because if the Houston Texans sack Patrick Mahomes 9 times, it's a wrap. Now, they ain't going to sack him 9 times, but I'm just saying, you can put any quarterback in that blank. You can put Tom Brady in his prime in that blank. If you tell me you sacked Tom Brady 9 times, I'm going to tell you won the game. I'm going to tell you you won the game. The Los Angeles Rams defensive line was in the backfield more than the Los Angeles Rams running backs. More than the Minnesota Vikings running backs, man. It was insane. And, man, I'm going to tell you something. It is not very often that I'm watching a football game and I'm feeling sorry for a player. I couldn't help but feel sorry for, I just couldn't help feel sorry for Sam Darnold. He had no chance, y'all. Now, don't get me wrong. Let's go to the flip side of this. Sam Darnold did make some mistakes. Sam Darnold made some mistakes. But I can't discount the fact that the mistakes were made, because that Rams defense was insanity. Man, their defensive coordinator, it was insanity. And I'm like, where's this O-line for the Vikings? Where's the O-line? There were plays that the Rams defensive line was coming so strong that the Minnesota Vikings, their line wasn't even getting knocked out of the way. They weren't getting knocked on the ground. They were literally just getting moved out of the way. The guys were so quick. Your quarterback's on the ground and you're standing up as an offensive lineman. There's a problem. There's a problem. And they have cost they have cost Sam Darnold some money. What's going on, Miss Matrix? Let me get some greetings in. Jared, what's going on? Ron, what's going on? Daniel M., what's going on? Gabe, what's going on? Tony Simmons, what's going on? Now, Jared, you know me and you, we know I'm on the same page. You said Sam Darnold choked. I'm just going to modify the word. Let me insert a word in there. You said Sam Darnold choked. No, Sam Darnold got choked. Sam Darnold got choked. And I was tripping on Troy Aikman. He's taking sacks. No, he was not taking sacks. I'm not. Troy Aikman can tell me anything he want to. Troy Aikman know what it feels like after the 96 season. Troy Aikman knows what it feels like when you don't have the offensive line you used to have. No, Troy, I'm not giving it to you. No, Troy, they were not. Sam Darnold was not taking sacks. The Rams were taking sacks. The Rams were taking sacks. They had no answer for the pass rush of the Rams. That's the story of the game. They had no answer. How many times have I told y'all this? How many times have I told y'all this? I'm going to show it to you again. When you come to this channel, and some of you do know football, so I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence, but I'm telling you, you're going to learn when you come here. You're going to learn football rather than just talk about it. Let me show you the tail of the tape. If you tell me Sam Darnold, if you tell me without looking at the game, Sam Darnold threw the ball 40 times, completed 25 of those attempts, threw it for 245, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 63% completion percentage, 77.6 rating, 6.1 yards. You don't even have to tell me. You know what I'm going to tell you? He probably got beat. He probably got beat. You do not want your quarterback throwing the ball more than 25 times in a game. You should not, nobody, no team should want their quarterback throwing the ball more than 25 times. And the threshold should be right there in that 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oh, too much. No, you want 25 throws, quality over quantity. This is why I'm glad Mike McCarthy is gone. I don't want the quarterback throwing 30, 35, 40 times. The quarterback being the run game with his arm, with that raggedy, stale-toast West Coast offense. No. You know what I want? Let me show you what failed him. Y'all remember what Aaron Jones did to us last year? It's funny how Aaron Jones and Jordan Love look this year in the playoffs. Jordan Love didn't put up 16 for 21, 270-something yards. What was it? 3 touchdowns. I'd have to go back and look to just be perfect on it. He didn't look like that this year, did he? Injuries, and the injuries were not just, they were not like the Cowboys injuries. Let's just be honest. Everybody's kind of playing with, it's a battle of attrition. I've told my wife this for years. The playoffs is a battle of attrition. Everybody's hurt. The question is, who can be the healthiest? The Detroit Lions are hurt. They're decimated on defense. We're going to see what they look like coming out this weekend. Whole lot of teams are hurt. So we can't give people that excuse. This is what failed him. Aaron Jones, 13 attempts, 48 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. 13 was his longest carry. Akers, 15 carries, 39 yards. 7.8 yards, 26 was his longest. So you're telling me that they basically had 18 attempts and 87 yards. You know what I'm going to tell you? They got the brakes beat off of them. If Sam Darnold threw the ball this much and this is all you ran, yeah, you pretty much got beat. You got beat. And one of the reasons was when you come out on a team, and you do what the Rams did, and the Rams were genius in what they did. It's how the Rams got up on them. Once you start getting up on a team, first you make it 10-0. You mess around and make it 17-0, 17-3, whatever the case may be. You get to that point, and it's a wrap. It is an absolute wrap. You are going to beat a lot of teams if you can get up on them fast. You don't necessarily have to, look at the score. You don't necessarily have to blow them out. No, when you get up on a team, 10-0, You changed their whole game plan. You know what Mike Tyson said? I'm sure you heard this before. Mike Tyson said everybody have a plan until they get punched in the face. The Minnesota Vikings got punched in the face. They got punched in the ribs. They got punched in the stomach. The Los Angeles Rams came out with haymakers. Haymakers. Sacks, turning the ball over, pass rush. Before you know it, I blinked and it was 10. I was like, what's going on with this game? The game was going so fast. I didn't know. I'm like, what is going on with this game? 10-0. It's over in the first quarter that quick. Then you look up again. It's, what, 21-3. I mean, I'm sorry, 17-3. You blink. 17-3? You go in down at halftime? You're telling me you going down at halftime, 24-3. I'm going to tell you it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It happened to the Cowboys in 94. Troy Aikman came out, threw 3 interceptions. It's hard to come back from 20. I think it was either 21-7 or I think it might have been like 21-7 at the half or 28, some weird number like that. It's hard to come back from turnovers. It's hard to come back from sacks. It's hard to come back being down at the half, 24-3. Man, my uncle texted me. I said, it's over. It's over. And the reason why it was over, they didn't have to do anything else on offense. They didn't have to do anything else. The Vikings were already knocked out. And that defense came out in the second half and made them tap out. That defense made them tap out. I'm not going to hate on Sam Darnold. I just can't do it. Man, when your O-line gives up 9 sacks, I mean, look at the tape on this thing. There was some of those sacks. Those were not Sam Darnold giving up sacks. Sam Darnold took 4 steps back, and they were already in the backfield. All he could do was fold like a lawn chair after a wedding. That's all he could do. That Rams defense, man, you know, we see this all the time. We'll see in this wild card round, man, we'll see these things like we'll see how the Houston Texans defense performed. We saw tonight now how the Vikings defense performed. I'm very interested to see now, okay, what are you going to look like in the divisional round? And I'm showing you again. This is what I want for our quarterback in Dallas. This is what I want for our quarterback. Y'all do know that Matthew Stafford is a very prolific passer, right? Matthew Stafford is a prolific passer. It is nothing for Matthew Stafford to throw 300 yards. I mean, Matthew Stafford can throw 300 yards in his sleep. You know what I liked about the game tonight for Matthew Stafford? You don't believe me when I'm telling you this is the formula? You win a lot of games when your quarterback can do this and win. 19 to 27. Matthew Stafford, 19 of 27, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 70% completion ratio, 117 quarterback rating, yards per attempt 7.7. I want to play on that team. The Rams are not driven by Matthew Stafford. The Rams have a pretty good team. They're going to get tested this week coming up, but they beat the Vikings because at the end of the day, they have a better team. I'm glad now we got this out of the way because now we don't have to talk about, I mean, when you think about the Cowboys record, the Cowboys were 12-5. The Green Bay Packers were 10-7. We had a 10-7 team. We had a 10-7 team that beat a 14-3 team. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. And I'm sure the Vikings thought, hey, we're going to walk in here and take care of business. No, you got taken care of. The Rams stomped them. Look at this running game. The running game, 16 of 76, 4.8 yards carry. Rivers, three carries, 8 yards. Nakua, 1 carry, 7 yards. So when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, the running game is not quite what I would have wanted. They basically ran for 91 yards on 19 attempts. But what made up for that, what made up for the 19 for 91 is the fact that the defense went bonkers. The defense went bonkers. And so it alleviated. When your defense can play like their defense played tonight, it alleviated a whole lot of requirements. It alleviated a whole lot of the requirements that the offense had. I was trying to see, because if I'm not mistaken, I thought the Rams. I thought one of the Rams touchdowns was actually a defensive touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. So that alleviated some things right there as far as the way that they had to play the game. But I'm pretty sure, I thought one of the touchdowns was a defensive touchdown. But man, I'm telling you, the Rams wore the Vikings out, man. I'm sorry. I just, there was nothing. There was nothing Sam Darnold could do. Absolutely nothing he could do. So I'm gonna modify what you said, Jared. Sam Darnold didn't choke. Sam Darnold got literally choked. They choked that man out. Sam Darnold wished he'd have had the looks that Justin Herbert had on Saturday. Justin Herbert made some bad throws. Sam Darnold, no, he didn't have a chance. You don't have a chance when you get sacked 9 times, man. You just don't have a chance. Ron, the Vikings quarterback coach needs to be fired. Hey, Ron, man, I don't know, bro. What can you say, though, Ron? The man was on the ground 9 times. Jared, the Rams will beat Philadelphia next week in Philadelphia. Watch. You know what, though? Watch what happens. I'm not a betting man. They're not going to look the same against watch what I tell you. They're not going to look the same against the Eagles. They're not going to look the same. I promise y'all, the Rams are not beating the Eagles. They're not going to look the same, Jared. You know why? You know how you stop a pass rush? You know how you stop a pass rush, right? You run right at it. You run right at it. I am not going to be surprised. The Eagles, when they play the Rams, I'm not going to be surprised. If Jalen Hurts throws the ball 20 times, I will not be shocked. If Jalen Hurts throws the ball between 15 to 20 times, I'm not going to be shocked, because that's the best way to beat a team like the Rams. Oh, you're very aggressive on the pass rush, are you? The Minnesota Vikings run game is not. It is not the Philadelphia Eagles running attack. It is not. It is not Saquon Barkley and Gaineswell. It is not the same. Oh, and by the way, Sam Darnold, he's not Jalen Hurts. He's not Jalen Hurts. He might even throw better than Jalen Hurts, but he's not Jalen Hurts, because unlike Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts is an extension of the run game. Jalen Hurts is going to some of those runs that Sam Darnold couldn't capitalize on. Jalen will capitalize on those. He will capitalize on those. And you watch what Kellen Moore and the Eagles do. Y'all better recognize something. Kellen Moore has an incentive now. Kellen Moore has an incentive. Kellen Moore can smell that Dallas Cowboy job. He can smell it. I don't think he's going to get it. People keep mentioning his name. Some folks are even saying that Dak Prescott may even be begging for Kellen Moore to come back. Wouldn't shock me either. Kellen Moore. He can smell that Dallas Cowboy job. I don't think he's getting it, but I think he thinks he can get it. Kellen Moore is now on the clock. Kellen Moore is on the clock. The further Kellen Moore gets, the more you're going to hear Kellen Moore's name associated with the Dallas Cowboys coaching job. You watch what I tell you. I am confident in this because I've seen this before. The Rams are not going to look the same against the Philadelphia Eagles. Why? Because the Philadelphia Eagles are an entirely different monster. They're an entirely different monster. They're good on the outside. They got a great tight end. They got a running game, offensive line. The Philadelphia Eagles can control both lines of scrimmage. The Rams are what they are. The Rams are what they are. No, they're not going to look the same. Trust me, they're not going to look the same. When they get down there in Philly, they're not going to look the same. They're not. I will not be surprised against Philly. The score they beat the Vikings with tonight is going to be the score they get beat by the Eagles. No, they're not going to be the same. They're not going to be the same. You watch what I tell you. Daniel says Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders. Man, we're going to talk about this in a moment. Yeah, and really, you just hit it right on the head. I'm honored, but no thanks. Let me tell you something. Jerry ain't throwing them dollars at Deion. Right? He ain't throwing them dollars right at Deion yet. But Deion has made a statement, and I do believe Deion. I take him at his word. Deion has said he will coach the NFL. Now he's put another caveat on it. He would only coach in the NFL if he could coach both of his sons on the same team. Now, I'm sure Jerry Jones has already told him. I can make one of them happen because I think it's going to happen. I believe that Jerry Jones is going to get Shiloh Sanders. I believe Jerry Jones is going to get Shiloh Sanders. Shiloh Sanders is projected as a fifth round draft pick. That's his projection. He's got a fifth round grade. We don't have a fourth. I will not be surprised if Jerry Jones, with the fifth pick in the draft, Shiloh Sanders. Jerry Jones loves Deion Sanders. He absolutely loves him, and he should. Deion Sanders was the seal of the deal for the 95-96 Super Bowl. He helped seal the deal for the 49ers in 2014, and then he came and helped seal the deal for the Jimmy Johnson-less Cowboys so Jerry could prove he could win without Jimmy and win up under the figure of Barry Switzer, who only stood on the sideline and chewed gum. Gabe, I mentioned that term, didn't I? Sam Darnold turned back into a pumpkin just like I knew he would. But let's be honest, Gabe, he didn't turn back into a pumpkin. They made him turn back into a pumpkin. They made him do it. Now the Vikings can get back to developing J.J. McCarthy, yes, sir, and let number 14 walk. Talk about premature locker room celebrations like yikes. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. And I said it before. The Vikings would have been called a super team. But Sam Darnold was the quarterback. And everyone was waiting on Sam Darnold to turn back to a pumpkin. And I think Troy Aikman was overly critical of Sam Darnold. Stop it, Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was a statue back there. Troy Aikman was no scrambler. Troy Aikman ate off of play action. But if you got after Troy Aikman, we know what started happening to Troy Aikman. He started taking those hits, getting concussed. Stop it. I mean, I'm sorry, man. I'm not saying Sam Darnold is a top 25 quarterback in this league. But if you're going to tell me that quarterback is going to get sacked 9 times and I'm looking at it with my own eyes, there's at least 6 of those sacks he couldn't get away from. There was just no way. He could not get away from those. And Sam Darnold, it's kind of amazing to me because I'm like, man, Sam Darnold, he's a little bit mobile. I mean, he can move around. He's not, man, I don't know who could beat Lamar Jackson, maybe. Jalen Hurts, I think. Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they're the only 4 quarterbacks. Oh, Jaden Daniels. I mean, they're the only quarterbacks that come to my mind that when I think about that pass rush, that they possibly could have got away from maybe half of those. You know, Troy, you know, I understand some of the stuff that Troy was saying, but man, come on. It just wasn't there, man. That Rams defense was crazy. The 6 teams that lost the playoffs this week averaged 12 points. Defense wins championships. The Rams and the Houston Texans are going to have a chance this weekend because of those defenses. I just don't think the Houston Texans are going to look the same, though, against the Kansas City Chiefs. Just like I don't think the Rams are going to look the same against I don't think they're going to look the same against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think they're going to look the same. Matchups matter. Where you play, but especially who you play, matters. And even though the Rams were not at home, they were in, Arizona. Let me look at something here real quick. Because I was thinking, we didn't play the Rams this year. At least we didn't play the Rams. I don't think we played the Rams this year. We didn't play the Rams. But the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, just happened to play the Rams. If I'm not mistaken, this is 2024. Now, I want you to keep in mind what I just told you. I just told you I will not be surprised if Jalen Hurts only throws the ball 20 times against the Los Angeles Rams. Did I not just say that? I will not be surprised if he throws the ball 20 times. And I also said, didn't I say, the Philadelphia Eagles are a different monster. They got a run game. That's a whole lot different than what we saw tonight from the Minnesota Vikings. This is a whole different team they're going to be playing. And it is not, I promise you, it is not going to be the same. Y'all remember the names that I mentioned? The tight end, the 2 wide receivers. I mentioned Saquon Barkley. I mentioned Gainwell. Y'all remember, I mentioned all of this, right? Let me show you what happened the first time. Let me show you what happened when they played this season. 37-20. 37-20. The Philadelphia Eagles are a different monster. No, the Rams are not doing the Philadelphia Eagles like that. And the Philadelphia Eagles did this on their turf. Philly different. I'm just telling y'all, man, Philly built different. They're built different. The Philadelphia Eagles are built to beat every team that's playing currently. It don't mean they're going to beat every team that's playing currently, and they don't have to actually beat every team that's playing currently. But they're built. They can beat the Rams, and I think they will beat the Rams, and I think they're going to beat them convincingly. And the Detroit Lions better watch out with that decimated defense. I can't write Houston all the way off, but I just don't think the Houston Texans have enough offensively. Because where I think their defense can maybe hold the game to a degree, I just don't think there's a way for the Houston Texans to hold Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and not to mention Kansas City Chiefs just happen to have a good defense too. I don't think they can hold the Kansas City Chiefs for 4 quarters. I don't think they can hold, trust me, Patrick Mahomes will not do what Justin Herbert did. Just like Jalen Hurts, those sacks are not going to be there. Why? Because the easiest way to stop a team that likes to rush the passer, you run at them. It's easy. You run. You run at them, you run away from them, you run around them, you run, and then just when they think they got you, you play action pass and you hit them for chunk plays. You don't believe me? Look at the first meeting. Jalen Hurts, 15 for 22. 179 yards, 1 touchdown. That's exactly what I want. If I'm the Eagles, this is how I want to beat them. No, I don't want Jalen Hurts throwing it all. I don't want people to talk about, oh, he's a running. I don't care if he's a running back. I don't want him throwing 30 times anyway. I don't want him throwing 25 for me. Jalen Hurts, that's it. Cut off, 25. We don't care what your yards are. You want to get 179? We don't care. That's not how we're constructed. Our team is not constructed for it to ride on the quarterback like the Dallas Cowboys. Saquon Barkley went bonkers on this team. 26 for 255, 2 touchdowns. He went absolutely bonkers. Oh, by the way, you don't think this 12 for 39 hurt? That 12 for 39 hurt too. Kenneth Gainswell, you don't think this 5 for 22? It hurt. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown, 6 for 109. Saquon Barkley, 4 for 47, 4 for 19 on Goddard. Devontae Smith, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't even play that game. He's not even on the score sheet. I'm pretty sure he didn't play. No, Philly built different. It ain't happening. Philly built different. And oh, by the way, you want to pay attention to what happened to the Rams the first time they played Philly? Let me count the ways. 1 sack, 2 sacks, 3 sacks, 4 sacks, 5 sacks. They literally had Matthew Stafford running for his life. Don't let this game blind you. Matthew Stafford, man, he can't get away from nobody's pass rush. Matthew Stafford can get away from maybe one. You stay in that backfield, Matthew Stafford, he can't get away from your pass rush. He just can't. He just can't get away from your pass rush. Bad matchup. Bad matchup for the Rams. Bad matchup. It may be better than this. Not much better. No, Jared. Philly is going to do what they did before. They're going to beat the brakes off of the Rams. The matchup is bad. It's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup. It's the same thing for the Houston Texans. And we have to understand, the NFL designs the playoffs like this. It makes sense. You don't want the best teams playing the best teams in the playoffs. You want the best team playing the worst seeds. That's how you want it. Because the goal is for the 2 best teams to get to the dance. Now, the problem is, and this is exactly what the NFL wants too, we got a very good problem this year. We have a very good problem now that we're down to the divisional round. Now we get to get down to the nitty gritty. Because the reality is this in the NFC. Let's just be honest. There's no use in playing around. Let's be honest. There are really only now, realistically, there are now only 2 teams left. There are only 2 teams left to be real in the NFC. When you look at the NFC, if the Washington Commanders beat the Detroit Lions, it is going to be the upset. And I'm going to call this one the second greatest upset of the year. This will be the second greatest upset in the playoffs if the Washington Commanders beat the Detroit Lions. I give Washington a punching chance because Detroit's defense is decimated. So I already know what Detroit's about to do. They're going to exploit the Washington Redskins defense. And they're going to probably put up 30 or 40 on them. Easy. They're going to probably put up 30 or 40. And so they're going to put the Washington Commanders in a situation to where, okay, you're going to have to outscore us. People don't understand, man. Detroit, man, they playing with dudes from Walmart, man. They got dudes from Walmart on the defense. Aaron Glenn's been doing a heck of a job. We saw what Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers put up on them, and they had to come back. And that's the problem. Detroit can score points. They can score points. So I give Washington a chance, a puncher's chance. But boy, they're going to put up some points. And I don't know if Aaron Glenn, even with that defense, is going to let them do it. But the reality is, Philly is head and shoulders better. Philly is head and shoulders above the LA Rams. Now, to me, this will be the third upset, the third worst upset in the playoffs of the teams remaining. This will be the third upset, the third worst upset. Because I think the worst one would be Washington over Detroit. I think the third worst, Washington over Detroit would be the second worst. The Rams over Philadelphia would be the third worst. But the reality is this: if all things stay like they should, there are only two teams that are really contending for this Super Bowl. It's the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. I expect competitive games out of both of these. I expect competitive games, especially in the first half. But in the third and the fourth, let me tell you something. Philly, they are constructed to win. They're going to run, and 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 they're going to run. They're going to control the time of possession. They're going to control the line of scrimmage on both sides, and they're going to run, and they're going to run, and they're going to crack this LA Rams. They're going to crack this team just like they did the first time. Y'all need to understand something. What we saw tonight, the Vikings are not in the same class as Philly. They're not in the same class. I'm telling y'all, Philly built different. The only team that's going to have a chance to stop Philly is Detroit. Because even if Washington make it, they're not enough. Unless they knock Jalen Hurts out again like they did the last time they saw him. They're not going to be enough to stop Philly this time. They're not going to be enough. They're not going to be enough the next time. This is the very reason why Dan Quinn wanted that 6th seed. He didn't want to see Philly first. He didn't want to see Philly first. He wanted to get to this divisional round. But now you got to see Detroit. Detroit's going to wipe them out. Philly's going to wipe out the Rams. Realistically, it's only Philadelphia and Detroit. In actuality, it's actually what we should want to see. We have a vested interest in these two teams winning because they are currently constructed in the way that we want our team constructed. 2 running backs, check. 2 wide receivers, check. Gadget guy for Detroit, check. Philadelphia, great tight end, check. Defensive line, offensive line, check. When he got them some safeties in the, I can't remember where they got the safeties, but the safeties for the Philadelphia Eagles are bar none, and they went and got them some cornerbacks, check. Detroit was good. They're hurt on defense. You think about what these two teams have. What? Great offensive coordinators. We're just going to get Kellen Moore his flowers. Kellen Moore's done a great job this year. You don't want to call him great. He's definitely good. And he's teetering on being great. He's matured a lot since the Cowboys. The Detroit Lions, they got Ben Johnson. Both of these teams got defenses. Philly has the number 1 defense in the league. This is going to be the matchup that we're going to see. The one thing I do like about the playoffs, the further you get to the center, what we saw all year from these teams typically start to come to fruition. And so, now, hey, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, Jared, Philly going to knock them boys off. Philly going to knock them boys off. They're going to crack that skull because I'm telling you, man, running games travel. And Philly, hey, the Rams run game, it ain't close. It ain't close, and it ain't good enough for the Rams. It's not close. And Matthew Stafford, the way you saw, mark my words, the way you saw Sam Darnold running, it's going to be worse for Matthew Stafford because he can't run like Sam Darnold. It is going to be worse. And that is why in their first meeting, that is why the score was 37-20. It was 37-20. They're not going to have an answer. I just don't think they're going to have an answer for Jalen. They're not going to have an answer for Jalen Hurts running the ball, Kenneth Gainwell running the ball, and Saquon Barkley. They're not going to have an answer. This dude put up 255 on them on 26 carries. Nah. They're not. They're just not the Minnesota Vikings. They're not. They're not the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones, He's not in the same class with Saquon Barkley right now. Saquon Barkley is on a mission, and they're not going to stop him. Ron said corner blitz worked every time because Sam did a 7-step drop and then would run 10 more yards backwards. You know, at the end of the day, Ron, I think we may have to just admit something. He's the backup quarterback. I mean, he's not. I guess he's the backup quarterback. Sam Darnold has been a journeyman. It is what it is. But I'm not going to just say that it was Sam Darnold's fault. No, that Rams defense was crazy. It was. Detroit and the Rams exposed the Vikings twice this year. Credited their defensive coordinators. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The defense did them in. Did them in. Tony Simmons says Sean McVay is an offensive coordinator. Yeah, he is. There happens to be a head coach. Mike McCarthy is a head coach that calls plays. Big difference. Oh, boy, you said something, Tony Simmons. You said something. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Ron, the O-line had no answers. But now, watch the script get flipped. Because the Rams, on this go-round, they're not going to have an answer for Phillies. They're not going to have an answer for Philly. They're not going to have an answer for Philly. You watch what I tell you. Daniel M. I think the Eagles don't who they are against the in the 5-hour next round, 5th HW next round. But if the Rams play like this against Philly, this might be a closer game than what people think. But they won't. They won't. They're not going to play the same. Because the Vikings are not the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm telling y'all, man, the Philadelphia Eagles are constructed the way we want our team constructed. Our quarterback is a little bit more, he's a lot more prolific than Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts kind of equalizes some of that with his running ability. And I'm interested to see what Dak looks like when he comes back this year, because I think Dak is going to make it his business to get himself back together to where he can run the ball some. So we would even be that much better, because I'm telling you, you put Dak Prescott on that Philadelphia Eagle team, this whole thing would be a wrap. This whole thing would be a wrap. They would roll up, beat the Rams, beat Detroit, roll in the Super Bowl. It would be Dak Prescott against Patrick Mahomes, and I would put my money on Dallas if their team was constructed like the Philadelphia Eagles. That team is crazy with it. And I'm telling you, matchups are everything. Matchups are everything. Because, you know, it reminds me of I'm going to tell you what this reminds me of. This game tonight that we saw, and we saw the Rams play. It reminds me of the Dallas Cowboys, and it was the 2022 season. It was the 2022 season. The 2022 season, the Dallas Cowboys went up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Dallas Cowboys went in here. And if you look at this game, I'm sorry. When you looked at this game, I can remember Colin Cowherd on that Monday. He was going crazy over Dak Prescott. Everyone was talking about Dak Prescott. What he did, how he looked. I mean, man, I'm telling you, I remember they went to a sideline shot on Dak Prescott. Dude gave him a drink and a peel. I said, whoa, man, this dude Dak over here taking steroids on the sideline. I don't know what they gave Dak on the sideline. Man, they must have gave him the super serum on that joint. Dak Prescott looked unbeatable. Look at Dak's box score this day. 25 of 33, 305, 4 touchdowns. Dak Prescott, 7 for 24, 1 touchdown. This dude accounted for 5 touchdowns. And it says he got 4 TDs. Maybe they're counting this one. So he accounted for 3 of the touchdowns. I'm sorry. He accounted for 3 touchdowns, basically. Dak looked unbeatable. He looked unbeatable. They mollywopped the Buccaneers. Blanked them in the first half. Gave them 14 points in the second. This is what Tom Brady. Bullied them. Tony Pollard, 15 for 77. Ezekiel Elliott, 13 for 27. Dak Prescott almost outrushed Zeke. Man, this team looked incredible. Looked incredible. It did. Looked incredible, man. But then they came out the next week. They came out the following week against the San Francisco 49ers. I think I went too far. Came out the following week against the San Francisco 49ers, and it was a tale of two teams. Now, that same team that scored 31 points, they scored 12 points against the San Francisco 49ers. And someone says, well, it's because they played worse. No. San Francisco was a better team, and the San Francisco 49ers were a better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The San Francisco 49ers were a different animal. They were a different animal. It was a whole different caliber of team. Matchups matter. Where you play and who you play in the playoffs matters, unless you're just that dominant. But if you're that dominant, you're probably playing at home anyway. Unless you got another team that was playing so good and both of y'all with 13 wins, 12, 13, 14 wins. Dak Prescott, 23 of 37, 206, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. We look totally different. Let's look at the player stats. Why do we look so different? Tony Pollard broke his leg. I think this is the game he broke his leg. Dak was 4 for 22 yards. Ezekiel Elliott was 10 for 26. Why did we look so different? Did we play bad? We got to stop sometimes. Sometimes we have to stop doing this stuff. We think every time a team loses, they played bad. Said the same thing about Justin Herbert. I'm going to say the same thing about the game with Dak Prescott that year with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to say the same thing about Sam Darnold tonight. We do this stuff way too much. We'll look at a game, and because we're watching these things happen and we're saying Sam Darnold is trash. I'm not going to tell you that Sam Darnold is a MVP. I'm not going to tell you he's an all-pro. I'm not going to tell you he's been shafted and he should be starting in this league. I'm not going to tell you any of those things. But we have to stop discounting that when a team comes out and they're better than your team and they punch your team in the mouth and they bully your team, we have to stop saying, no, it ain't them why we lost. We lost. We made these mistakes. No, they made you make those mistakes. They made you make those mistakes. Sam Darnold was not out there looking like goofy. He was out there being made to look goofy, and it wasn't him. The whole Minnesota offense was being made to look goofy. It's not like, man, Sam Darnold got all day in the pocket, man. He just missing receivers. That joker didn't have 2 seconds in the pocket. And I blame his head coach, the play caller, because Ron, you brought up a point, and I want to capitalize on a point. You made the point. You said he was taking these 7 and 10 step drops. So you're telling me that the coach don't get some say so in that? I think his coach needs a little bit of maturing too, because when you got a pass rush that's coming like the Minnesota, when you got a pass rush that was coming the way the Rams was coming on the pass rush, you got to do one of 2 things, and you probably got to do both of them. Okay, so wait, let's make it 3 things. Hold on a second. Our offensive line does not have an answer for the Rams because they didn't. They didn't have an answer. So, how about rather than us trying to get these plays developing 10, 15, 17 yards down the field, rather than us trying to get those plays? Hold on a second. Let's reel it in a little bit. How do we get the ball out of Sam Darnold's hand quick? Did we not notice tonight? They didn't have that in their arsenal. When you know that this pass rush is coming the way it is, so now you got to do three things to nullify it. Number one, if we're going to throw the ball, let's get some quick throws. Let's stop all the deep stuff. How about we get some crossing routes? Let's let the guy in the slot, let's get the crossing routes, get the rub, let him run deep, let him run the shallow. Because the Rams are not giving us anything. So we got to get some quick throws in. We got to nullify the pass rush. Number two, second way you can nullify a pass rush. Okay, I see what y'all doing. Pretty aggressive, aren't you? All right, we got you. How about some screens? How about some screens? You get creative. Screens. As they run at you, okay, boom, one potato, screen. This is how you stop aggressive defenses. And the third way you stop an aggressive defense, you run at them, you run around them, but you run. You run. You have to run, because if you don't, and the moment you let them get the lead, like they let them get the lead, you're going to let them get the lead the way that they did, then you better prepare yourself. Because once you let them get the lead that they had, well, now they can pin their ears back. And that's what they did to them. They put them in a situation to where they had to start passing. They had to pass because they got up on them so bad. It's a recipe for disaster. It is. They punched them in the face. And it's not just Sam Darnold. Their entire coaching staff didn't have an answer. Man, we got to stop. This is not about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a part of the blame. Don't get me wrong. No, they didn't have an answer. I don't think they had a clue of how good that this doggone Rams pass rush is going to be tonight. Tony Simmons, Rams took the blueprint from the Lions. And you're talking about that last game. That last game against the Lions. That last game against the Lions, man, when you look at it, because the first game that the Vikings had against the Rams earlier in the season, that game was way more competitive. That game was way more competitive. But the game in the end, man, they stomped them. Man, they stomped them. The game on October the 20th was 31-29. That game was close. But let me tell you something else is strange. If you don't think matchups matter, people don't understand this stuff. Matchups matter. I don't care what your record is. Matchups matter. You can be undefeated, like the New England Patriots was when they came up against the New York Giants in the Super Bowl. Undefeated. If you get a matchup that you don't match up well with, I don't care what your record is, you're getting your butt beat. If you're a finesse team and you come up against a grimy, punch you in the face team with a serious pass rush, they can run the football, I don't care what your record is, they're going to beat you. They're going to beat you. Tell me this isn't strange. The Lions barely beat the Vikings on October the 20th. The Vikings then came back on a Thursday night. They came back on a Thursday night against none other than the Los Angeles Rams. Look at the score. Matchups matter. Matchups absolutely matter. They matter. Minnesota 20, Los Angeles Rams 30. What happened in this game? Let's look on the Rams side of the ball. I want to see if it was the same type of issue. So in this game, it looks like they only sacked him, what is that? They sacked him 3 times. They sacked him 3 times. But as you notice, okay, wait, that's Matthew Stafford. No, that's right, the Rams. Okay, yeah, the Rams. They didn't have as many sacks. Matthew Stafford had a way better day. He had 4 touchdowns. But they beat him. They beat him that day too. The Rams were 3-4 at the time. They were 5-2 or whatever they were. They beat him that day too. So, we're thinking about these seedings, but at the end of the day, you go back and start looking into some of this stuff. Oh, okay, this happened during the season too. But matchups matter. Matchups matter. And when you think about the Lions, when it's 31-29, some of the injuries, the Lions started getting injured too. They didn't get the big one. Let me see. I don't think they got the big one yet. I was trying to check and see. Let me make sure. When did they play the Cowboys? Because I think the beginning of the really bad injuries for the Detroit Lions happened against the Dallas Cowboys. Because I thought we played them around the 4th game. This is 2024. Okay, wait a minute. I got the Vikings pulled up. My bad. But the Vikings got beat by the Rams early in the season. So, you think about this at the end of the day, it's no really big surprise when you start thinking about it. But I want you to also think about what happened to the Lions. See, this stuff matters. The Lions lost Hutchinson the game before the Vikings. And so the Lions started getting injury after injury after injury after injury. And that's why you started to see in some of these games that teams were scoring points on the doggone Detroit Lions. You see where the Packers scored 31 on them. The Lions scored 20. It was a 23-20 game. I think they should have lost that game. The Bills put up 48. The 49ers put up 34. We just saw that a couple of weeks ago. But then they came back and they stomped the Vikings. They stomped the Vikings on the next go-round. And so what we saw tonight, long story short, it's just no surprise. It's just no surprise. It's just a bad matchup. They had already beat them early in the season. It's just a bad matchup. They just had no answer. And the pass rush was that much more. It was that much more worse tonight. Willie T, what's going on? I can tell you why he looked bad. I can tell you why he looked bad. That defense was crazy. But you're saying something. It's the same thing I'm saying. It looked like they were going only for the big play. There are 3 things you can do to stop a pass rush. 1, hey man, let's stop going so far down the field. How about we get some quick slants? How about we manufacture some shorter throws so Sam Darnold doesn't have to do these deep drops and try to get these home runs? Hey, man, it's okay sometimes just to get on base. Let's get on base. Every batter can't step up and try to hit a home run. No, let's get some guys on base. They didn't focus on getting guys on base. And it was terrible because if you're going to do that, it's over. Sam Darnold cost himself some money. He did. But I also think that they cost him some money too because they left him open to exposure. The moment you see he's having problems, I'm telling you, watch Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is someone who understands situational football. Ben Johnson knows when Jared Goff is off. Ben Johnson knows when Jared Goff is struggling. But let me not talk out of both sides of my mouth. We may not realize it, but the Vikings aren't built. They're not built like the better teams. Sometimes you want to make adjustments and you can't. You can't discount that either. Just like I'm saying, they should have, hey, okay, 3 ways to stop a pass rush. Okay, you're going to do some quick slants. I do think they had the wide receivers for that. But then I say, okay, then you're going to run the ball. Well, that part, it didn't look like they were able to do that tonight. I still would have tried. I definitely still would have tried, but they didn't even try. Chanel, Sam Darnold showed you who he is. The Rams defense was killing up. Chanel, I'm telling you. I think in this situation, 2 things can be true. I think we all knew Sam Darnold was not a starter for a reason. Now, when you start talking about backup quarterbacks, some people were saying that that Cooper Rush was an elite backup. He's actually not. Sam Darnold is actually an elite backup. Sam Darnold is an elite backup because he's a number 1. He was a first-round draft pick. He's better than a backup. He's better than the average backup. Sam Darnold is the type of quarterback on your team that if he's your backup, you know, man, we might can do something with Sam Darnold. Because Sam Darnold won some games. He made some great throws this year. But, man, there was no answer for the pass rush. It just wasn't. Yeah, there was no, hey, Chanel, there was no answer. I mean, the Rams lived in the backfield. Chanel, I said it in the opening. Man, if you're going to tell me this dude going to get sacked 9 times, you can put any quarterback you want to. Fill in the blank. You're not winning. You're not winning. Daniel said, I think the Cowboys need a real head coach. And see, Daniel, I'm with you. Let me read the rest of your statement. And really change the way that they're thinking. There's a lot of coaches out there that want to be a head coach. You have to look around the NFL and see it. So, Daniel, see, this is where I am too. I was listening to James Slater tonight, and I've been listening to other people tonight, and they're talking about, yeah, man, the Cowboys done messed up because they didn't get the chance to interview Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson and all these other people because now they're deep in the playoff run. Okay, wait. Well, just wait. Nobody's saying wait to March, but wait. That's all you need to do. Wait. Don't predetermine. Don't make your mind up now. Say, hey, man, we're going to actually scour. We're going to look around and see what we can do. I don't care if you have to go in the pros and college. I don't care if you have to look in college and the pros. You weigh out all your options. They tried to weigh out their options with Deion Sanders. And again, it looks like Deion Sanders is giving a definitive no. And I know that Jerry could probably change Deion Sanders' mind. I think Jerry could change Deion Sanders' mind. Problem is, Jerry ain't ready to throw the type of money at Ben Johnson. I mean, he's not ready to throw the type of money that it will require to get a Deion Sanders. He's just not going to do it. Yeah, he's not going to do it. And I also think, too, for people, you know, my uncle, he sent me something tonight. My uncle told me tonight. He said if the Cowboys get Deion Sanders, he's going to stop watching the team. He said because if the Cowboys get Deion Sanders, they're not serious about winning. But I want to tell y'all something about Deion Sanders. This man wants to win. Deion Sanders has a rule. And y'all, you know, a lot of folk don't understand where Deion come from. Deion said something I thought was really interesting. He said, I knew I was good at an early age. He said, and because I knew I was good, I worked hard at it. He said, I worked hard because I knew I was good. And if you think about Deion Sanders, he's trying to teach the team in Colorado this. I don't know. This is kind of hard to teach this new generation. But I'm from this old school generation too. I come from a generation. You partied to 6 o'clock in the morning, whether it was a Saturday or a Sunday. You partied to 6 o'clock in the morning, knowing doggone well you had to be at work at 7:30. You know what you did? You didn't call in. You went your butt right to work. You came home, took a shower, put your work clothes on, went right to work. You party hard, you play hard, you win hard. That's what Deion comes from. They did it with the 90s Cowboys. People don't understand something. Man, them dudes had the White House over here in Dallas. Man, them 90s Cowboys team, they partied down to the ground. But they also knew that winning came with that. The one thing people need to understand about Deion Sanders, he wants to win. For Deion Sanders, he thinks differently than Jerry. Jerry says the show is what it's all about. The money in the show is what it's all about. And if we win in the process, that's good too. Y'all need to understand something about Deion Sanders. He don't operate like that. Deion Sanders does not operate like that. Deion Sanders believes in the show and the winning because he believes you get to do the show because you win. You don't get to do the show without winning. That's a clown show. Nobody wants to be a part of the clown. Not me. I don't want to be in the clown show. I don't want to be in the circus. That's good for some folk. I'm not knocking folks who want to be in the circus and be a clown or whatever the case may be. That's not the show I want to be in. I want to be in the show where I'm winning. I want to be in the show where people are screaming because whatever I'm doing it at the top at the top level. And I'm winning. Deion Sanders' show, people don't understand. Deion Sanders' show has always been built on winning. Think back to Florida State. Think back to when this man got to the pros. Think about when he played baseball. Deion Sanders, this is what has made Deion Sanders so great, and some people like it and some people hate it. But you can't deny this man is one of the most talented, winningest athletes you've ever seen in your life. Do not think for a second that Deion Sanders wants to come to this team and lose. I don't know what would make anybody think that. Deion does not want to come here and lose. If Deion comes to the Cowboys, you better believe he especially wants to win. Because Deion Sanders understands the gravity of the situation. Deion Sanders knows if I mess around and I come to this Dallas Cowboy team, let me just go and put it out there now. Deion Sanders come to this team. You think the media's been watching this team and talking about this team now? Man, Deion Sanders come to this team, it'll be like the O.J. Simpson trial. It'll be like the O.J. Simpson trial. You better believe it. It'll be like the O.J. Simpson trial. There will be cameras everywhere. Man, if Deion Sanders took over this team, opening night would break every record in history in the NFL. It would break every record. Deion Sanders understands the gravity. Some of y'all might not give Deion credit for this. Deion Sanders understands the gravity of him coming to the Cowboys. And I think this is one of the reasons why, contrary to what people think, this is why Deion is turning his job down. Deion understands the gravity of this thing. And Deion is understanding something. I can't go to Dallas and lose. Do y'all not understand this? So, if Deion Sanders becomes the coach, what is the level of expectation for Deion Sanders? What's the level of expectation? The playoffs? No. The divisional round? Nobody would be satisfied with it. NFC Championship game? We finally got to one. Nope, wouldn't be enough. Deion Sanders, the expectation would be Super Bowls. Not Super Bowl, bowls. Could you imagine if Deion comes to this team and don't win? Deion understands the gravity. Follow what Deion has done at Colorado. You'll be astounded. Deion has always tried to bring in the best coaches he could get. There's a reason why Zimmer was out there in Colorado. There's a reason why he's putting pro players on his staff. Warren Sapp, you see how much better the defense looked? Deion is getting better at his recruiting. He's getting better and better at the recruiting. Deion's got to start putting some players in the NFL. And once he starts putting some players in the NFL, other than his sons, other than Travis Hunter, once he starts putting players in the NFL, he's going to gain some cachet. And if Deion reaches that plateau, of which I think he'll have a good chance, if Deion can reach that plateau, get into the college playoffs, make some noise in there, I actually think Deion needs to be on a bigger program. But Deion knows if he comes to the Cowboys, the same thing he knows at Colorado. All eyes on Deion Sanders. Deion knows I got to win. Deion is trying his best to win in Colorado. He keeps getting better and better and better. He's got to get better a little faster now. And now he's got a real test. He's not going to have a son this time. I think he's going to be fine with the quarterback that he got, but he don't have a son this time. Deion understands the gravitas of coming to the Dallas Cowboys. Don't be fooled. Deion is not like Jerry Jones. With Deion Sanders, the show is predicated on winning. Deion only wants to brag when he wins. Deion don't want to brag because to Deion Sanders, a loser can't brag. He wants to win. And if Deion came to Dallas, I'm telling you what it would require. Jerry would have to crack that checkbook. Not only would he have to pay Deion Sanders is going to want to pick his own staff. He's going to want to pick his own staff. And he's not going to play around with Jerry Jones not acting. Y'all talking about coaches who would push back on Jerry Jones? I promise you Deion Sanders is not a yes man. Deion Sanders is not a yes man. Deion would not come here and allow Jerry Jones to not do anything in free agency. Man, Deion Sanders would be talking so much noise to Jerry Jones behind closed doors and in the media. Deion wouldn't put up with it. He wouldn't put up with Jerry not getting someone in free agency. He wouldn't put up with it. And players not doing their job, Deion Sanders would have a whole different mentality. They would either be fighting Deion Sanders or getting traded. People don't understand, man. Deion Sanders is not just all show like people think that he is. No, Deion understands the show is based on winning, and Deion wants to win. We question that about Jerry, but we don't question that about Deion Sanders, though, those of us who know him. Now, that dude want to win. Deion ain't playing around. That dude want to win. And that's one of the reasons, I guarantee you. You don't think he's thought about coming to Dallas? Imagine Dallas. I'm telling you, imagine the show. Anybody ever looked at Colorado's sideline? Boy, I'd love to play for Deion Sanders in college if I was capable. You think about this. You are a college player, and you're having an experience at Colorado that no other team is having. You literally got pro players on the sideline, in the stands, because of Deion Sanders. Do you not realize that that's your opportunity? Man, you go out there and show out with all those people watching. You go out and show out with the press that Deion has brought to that team. Man, you go out and show out on the Colorado Buffaloes, you're going to be playing on Sundays for sure. You're going to be playing on Sundays for sure. And Deion is about to start putting his players the same way Nick Saban started doing. He's going to start putting these players, because I'm telling you, he has some high-powered wide receivers around Shedeur Sanders. Deion is all about winning, and people do not understand that. The show comes with winning with Deion, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's turning down Jerry. Deion don't want this, man. Deion don't want to come here and be like, no, Deion want to win Super Bowls. Deion don't want to come here and put up with this mess. Purple Soul, what's going on? Cowboys locker room need a strong, no-nonsense coach who demands respects and holds men accountable. Purple Soul, people don't even realize this. This is exactly what Deion would do. Deion has said this before. I don't want to coach grown men, multi-millionaires who don't want to do their jobs. He said, I can't operate like that. I can't operate like that. I'm telling you, Deion would be that coach. But I don't think Deion wants to be that coach for grown men because he might wind up fighting somebody in the locker room. Tony Simmons, California, baby, I'm going for the Rams. Bleep those Eagles. Hey, well, they one step closer. Azteca, Barkley didn't look all that great on Sunday. You know why? I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles should have set Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts hadn't played for 3 weeks. Neither one of them looked especially good. I don't think they should have set those players. I think they should have did like Dan Quinn. I think they should have went out and at least played the first quarter. I would have gave Saquon Barkley a half. I would have gave him a half to get that record. He don't get it, sit down. If I see something crazy going on, sit down. Ron, I love Deion too, but he's the right guy for the job. Well, the problem is, Ron, he would be the guy for the job, but he's not going to do it because he knows Jerry ain't going to do what he's supposed to do. Deion would require players. He's going to require a payroll. Deion's not doing this with cheap coaches, y'all. He's not doing this with cheap coaches. I'm telling you, Deion is one of these people that is so misunderstood. I follow Deion because I like him a lot. And when I see the stuff that he's doing behind the scenes that people don't appreciate, man, this dude don't believe in losing. You think about Deion Sanders' persona is built on losing. It's not built on losing. It's built on winning. His persona is built on winning. It's built on winning. This dude is not just a freak athlete. It's built on winning. This dude ain't coming to Dallas to lose. He's not doing it. This Deion is talking about this for the attention to get extension from Colorado. I said that early in the season. And Jerry wants media hype to sneak in Kellen Moore when Deion says no. And Deion, like I said, Deion has already said it before. He doesn't want to coach the pros. Number two, he's already said, though, he'll come if he gets to coach his sons. But I think that's still Deion saying, I won't do it. Because Deion knows that it's going to probably be pretty much impossible for somebody to get both of his sons. Unless they're going to, and I don't want to call it waste a draft pick, but if they're going to use a high draft pick, like a third round, on a fifth round grade safety in Shiloh Sanders. I just don't think teams are going to do that to get Deion Sanders to be the coach because that won't be the final thing. Deion's going to continue to need things because Deion wants to win. The college game is built for Deion Sanders because you can do pretty much what you want to. It's built for him. Willie T, I'm not sold on Kellen Moore, but if Kellen Moore wins this weekend, and if Kellen Moore wins again, and Kellen Moore goes to the Super Bowl, might be more of a reality. You think that the Rams got a chance? Well, they do have a chance, but they're just not going to beat the Eagles, though. They just don't have enough. Ron, a lot of coaches could look good with Philly's talent. Yep, they could. They absolutely could. They could. They have a loaded team. They do. They're built to win. They're built to win. And this is how you want to be built. I want Jerry Jones to take notice. Build your team. Not to where your quarterback has to do it all. Build your team to where your quarterback is a part of the reason why you're winning. He's not the reason that you're winning. That's what you want. If Jerry gives Deion money in a trade, Michael Parsons gets to get all the picks so he can get both his sons, Deion Sanders, will be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and they will load up the team. The problem is what Dallas would have to give up. What Dallas would have to give up is insane. And then you would basically cut off your nose to smite your face, because people need to understand something about Deion Sanders. I'm saying this like it's an exception, only applies to him, but it doesn't. But especially him. Deion Sanders is going to need weapons around him. He's going to need weapons around him. The pros are different. He's not going to look the same in the pros. People better get ready. He's not going to look the same. He's not going to look right until they get players around him. He's not going to look right. So they're going to have to put players around him. So the team that he's going to, they're going to have to understand that Shedeur is going to be a 3-year quarterback. You're not going to see the fruition until the 3rd year. You're going to see flashes, but you're not going to see what you want to see until you get players around him. So you need to be prepared to buckle in and let him get his growing pains. Now, Shedeur, one thing I do like about Shedeur, he throws a very nice ball. The placement of where he puts the ball is very, very nice. I like the way he does that, but he's going to have to get used to that NFL speed. Also, he's not the one with the speed. It's Shiloh. So Shedeur is not a running quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. He can get away. He can scramble. He can make some runs, but he's not a very mobile quarterback by the definition of the word. As Tecker said, I'm not going with the media hype and team players. I go with the underdog. I give the upset to Philly. You mean like the Rams are going to upset Philly? Me, nothing about the media. I'm just looking at the way the Philadelphia Eagles are built. It's the only thing I've been talking about all year. It's the way they're built. The way they're built. Man, I'm telling you, the Baltimore Ravens, this game, the AFC, this is going to be incredible. This game right here, I just don't see it being that good. I think it might be a little close early. The problem is, unlike the LA Chargers, Patrick Mahomes can put up points on you. I just don't think Houston is going to be able to do a lot. This game right here is the clash of the Titans. The Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens. It is literally the game of the weekend. Doesn't mean it's going to be the game of the weekend, but it's the game of the weekend. Unequivocally, the game of the weekend. Because we got the two supposedly MVP runners going up against each other. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Baltimore Ravens dismantled Buffalo the first time. They're going to Buffalo. But Baltimore's constructed to win too. They're constructed to beat every team in this thing. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to be hard to stop. They are. They're just going to be hard to stop. This is the very reason why they went and got Derrick Henry. I wish you would say you're going to take away Lamar Jackson's legs now. I wish you would say it. Because if you do that, Derrick Henry going to get another $186 on you. If you say you're going to stop Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson is going to destroy you. This team is going to be hard to beat. I really want to see what Buffalo does. Man, if Buffalo can stop Baltimore, they might be able to stop KC. But I got a feeling the buck is going to stop here. To me, it's the way the Baltimore Ravens are built. They built a team to beat the Chiefs. You know who else did that? The Eagles built a team to beat the Chiefs. I mean, they built a team to beat the Chiefs. That's what both of them did. I know how we stop them. A run game. A run game. They both have it. I'm excited about this weekend of football. I'm very excited. Because because Lamar Jackson, he now gets to solidify or start solidifying a legacy. He's had 2 MVPs and he'd only had 2 playoff wins for the longest. Now he got his 3rd playoff win. Can he get a 4th? Can he get a 4th? Because to me, with the team they have around Lamar Jackson, a loss on Sunday it's a failure. It's a failure. I don't consider if Buffalo loses against the Baltimore Ravens, I don't consider that to be a failure. That's pretty much what they've been doing. And when you think about Josh Allen, they went and got Josh Allen in the run game. They didn't go get him Derrick Henry. Could y'all imagine Derrick Henry with Josh Allen? Just like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, people wouldn't want to see it. They just wouldn't want to see it. He don't have that type of running game, but he does have a running game. Josh Allen does have a run game now. And Josh Allen is a great thrower of the ball. Problem is he's a little arrogant. He thinks he can put it anywhere, but he's a great thrower of the ball. But he got dismantled the last time they saw each other. This is going to be the clash of the Titans. And if the Baltimore Ravens, even though they're the road team, I'm sorry, with the team they have right now, if they don't beat the Buffalo Bills, it's failure. I mean, it would be a failure either way. No, this is an epic failure. You do not have that team and lose. You do not have that team and lose. Epic failure. If the Houston Texans, to me, this will be the ultimate upset this Sunday if the Houston Texans beat the Kansas City Chiefs. If they beat Kansas City, upset of the year. Hands down, upset of the year. Because the crazy thing is, even if they beat KC, I don't think they can beat either one of these teams. I think KC going to take care of business. But the Houston Texans, man, that doggone defense, I'm still giving them a puncher's chance. At least in the first half. I just don't think they can hold them. Because unless Houston can score points offensively, and the Kansas City Chiefs have a very good defense too, if they don't score points, they just don't have a chance. It's going to require them to score points. Now, the best thing that could happen for the Houston Texans is defensive scores. It's the best thing that could happen for them. It's the same thing with the Rams. Rams can get some defensive scores on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to be telling y'all was right. I will be telling y'all were right if the Rams beat the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think the only way they pull that hat trick off, they're going to have to get some turnovers. They're going to require at least 2 to beat this team. Because Philly, Baltimore, they are constructed to beat this one team. And I love this because if you think about this, this is some of that 90s stuff. This is some of that early football stuff when football was still really, really football. Teams would lose to a team in the NFC Championship. They'd lose to a team in the AFC Championship. They would make it their business and say, so now we're going to build our team to beat that team. That's what they would do. Because that team was typically the top of the food chain. So if you could build your team to beat that team, then everybody in between you could pretty much handle. And that's why we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens with a 12-5 schedule. We're looking at Philly with a 14-3 schedule. Buffalo ain't tripping either. They got 13-4. Detroit, 15-2. Very well-built team. I feel sorry for Detroit because they don't have their full defensive staff. Because if they did, I don't think there'd be anybody that could handle them in the NFC. I don't even think Philly could handle them in the NFC if they had their entire arsenal. But Jaden Daniels is going to have something to say. He's a running quarterback. And when you got Detroit who doesn't have their full power on offense, I really want to see how he affects them. But it's going to be a great weekend of football, man. Only thing that makes it not be as good as it could be is the Dallas Cowboys aren't playing. Man, if the Dallas Cowboys be playing, boy, it'd be that much better. DC Trucker, yeah, I just showed that on the screen. They already beat the Rams. They manhandled them. And just like the Vikings, the Rams had already beaten the Vikings this year. So we really saw a worse replay of what we already saw. Azteca, he said, I got the Lions versus the Bills Super Bowl. Boy, man, let me tell you something. That would be an insane Super Bowl. Insane Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you, my prediction is that when the Cowboys get this chip in 2026, I believe the Buffalo Bills is going to be the team they're going to go up against. I think it's going to either be the Bills or the Chiefs And, man, it would be epic to see Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes go against each other in the Super Bowl. I would absolutely love to see that. But you're picking the Lions versus the Bills. Man. Hey, we're going to see. It's going to be a good weekend of football, Azteca, man. I'm excited for it. Ron said we already know who the best teams are. Dallas need to copy the general blueprint to some degree. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, we have a vested interest, in my opinion, in Detroit, Philly, and Baltimore. We have a vested interest because they are the three teams that went out and got their quarterback. They paid their quarterback. They got him running game, got him wide receivers, got him a defense. Those three teams did that. Those three teams in particular, they made it their business to do that. I think with Jerry Jones, man, I'm very interested to see, because I'm hoping that Jerry Jones, and I said it today, I'm hoping that Jerry Jones is in what I call urgency mode. I hope Jerry Jones is in urgency mode. I hope Jerry Jones has a sense of urgency, knowing, okay, I let go of Mike McCarthy. All eyes are on us. Man, we got to win this thing. We have to win this thing. Because the media is just getting more and more in a frenzy about the Dallas Cowboys and the things that Jerry isn't able to get away with some of the things that Jerry has been getting away with in the past. He just isn't able to get away with it. I mean, the chatter about Jerry Jones continues to get louder and louder and louder and louder. And I'm telling you, man, I know Jerry has been bullheaded for a long time, but boy, pressure will bust a pipe. Pressure will bust a pipe. I'm just wondering, and the proof is going to be in the pudding. I'm just wondering if Jerry is understanding he has to do something now. That was regular season. Oh, man, Azteca, boy, I can't wait. I ain't going to say I can't wait. Azteca Sunday night, we going to be, boy, man, you make sure you be on her Sunday night. Man, we going to be going at it. Because one of us going to be saying, I told you so. One of us going to be saying, I told you so. Ronald Crosby said, it's J.J. McCarthy time. Yes, sir, I said this before. I was actually laughing at people talking about, hey, man, the talks is that the Minnesota Vikings are going to trade J.J. McCarthy and keep Sam Darnold. Stop it. In what universe? There is no way, short of Sam Darnold going to the Super Bowl and winning the MVP. Man, I'm not keeping Sam Darnold over J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, it's J.J. McCarthy time. And they're going to even put more. They're going to put even more around J.J. McCarthy. You watch what I tell you. They're going to put even more around J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, exactly. The Eagles won the ball by running. They won the game by running the ball. They're going to be hard to beat. Minnesota can't run the ball at this point in time. And, man, I'm telling you, I'm so excited about this league going forward. This league, to me, is so much better when the running backs matter. Jerry Jones, this happened with Jerry Jones and Sean McVay when they cut Ezekiel Elliott and the guy named, he slips my mind, the guy for the Rams. He got the knee injury. What was his name? Some of y'all know his name. This guy was a super back for about 3 years. Todd Gurley. This started with Zeke and Todd Gurley. When the Rams cut ties with Todd Gurley and the Cowboys cut ties with Ezekiel Elliott after giving both of them humongous deals. And they brought shame to the running back position. They basically told people, hey, man, running backs ain't worth paying. Yes, they are. A lot of great teams have had great running backs. There have been some teams like Patrick Mahomes that don't need the running backs, but most people need the running backs. They do. Michelle Piat, what's going on? If the Rams play like they played tonight, nah. And watch what I'm telling you, Michelle. You know why they won't play like that? Because it's not the same matchup. That's why I gave the example of how the Cowboys looked against the Buccaneers. They look like world beaters. Retired Tom Brady came back against San Francisco 49ers, looked totally different. The matchups matter. The matchups matter. And the Philadelphia Eagles, they're a bad matchup for the Rams. They're a bad matchup for any team, really. The narrative of the Lions hurt the team, etc. It's not working anymore. They got the number 1 seed regardless of injuries. It's just not a given. They earned it. Oh, yeah, no doubt. This is one of the things that makes them be so good. This is why, to me, I've already mentioned this, Azteca. Aaron Glenn, I'm sorry. He should be at the top. Man, forget this Rooney Rule crap. Aaron Glenn should be at the top of every team's list that need a coach. This dude has done a lot with less. You hadn't heard no complaining or nothing. It's just next man up. Next man up. Ryan I said the same thing. I'm not knocking Sam Darnold, man. No quarterback, fill in the blank. If that quarterback gets sacked 9 times in a game, he's not winning. I don't care who that quarterback is. He is not winning. And Sam Darnold overachieved this year. You're right. Only problem with Sam Darnold, and it's not really Sam. Well, you know what? Sam Darnold could still be in a good position. If the Vikings don't bring him back, everybody has already said this draft is a very weak draft for quarterbacks. They don't even have a first-round grade on Deion Sanders. And I'm hearing some of the same things about Cam Ward. But they're the 2 best quarterbacks in the eyes of everybody in this draft. This is why this draft right here, I do not want the Cowboys to go waste a draft pick on a quarterback. No, do not waste a draft pick on a quarterback. It's a waste of a player. We made this mistake before. It's a waste of a player. You got Will Grier. Let's see who else is left on the market. I will not be surprised. They have been talking about, and we're going to see if it's come to fruition. There has been talk that Cooper Rush will be the replacement for Sam Darnold in Minnesota. And that Cooper Rush is going to be the backup for J.J. McCarthy and kind of be the mentor to J.J. McCarthy. But if Cooper Rush doesn't get picked up, he might be back in Dallas. If Trey Lance don't get picked up, I think he's definitely going to be back in Dallas. But I do think Trey Lance is going to get picked up. But this draft is so weak with quarterbacks. I believe that there is going to be a market for Sam Darnold because Ryan, I mean, you're right. He overachieved. He won 14 games. And I think there are a lot of people who are looking at this game tonight, and they're not saying, because I said people are waiting on Sam Darnold to turn back into a pumpkin. I don't think he got turned back. I don't think he turned back. I think they turned him into a pumpkin. Jared made a good comment. Jared said he choked, and I said, no, I'm going to add a word to it. No, Sam Darnold got choked. And while we can say maybe 3 of those sacks were his fault, no, I'm giving the Rams credit. No, those 5 or 6 of those things were not because Sam Darnold can't move around. Sam Darnold didn't have a second to breathe. Ronald Crosby, physical teams win championships. Yep. Vikings are way too finesse right now. Yep. Built up that offensive line and let's get tough. Yeah, because Ronald, I was very disappointed on some of those plays that Sam Darnold was literally on the ground and the linemen are standing up. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Sam Darnold has some major flaws. Oh, he does. He has some major flaws. But they prove something, though. But you can still win 14 games with him. You can win 14 games with Sam Darnold? Okay. Okay, we can work with that. If I'm a team, I can work with that. Even if he's a bridge quarterback. Man, you need a quarterback. You telling me Sam Darnold ain't worth it for $10 million, man? Come on, Sam. I'll take you over a rookie. Come on, Sam. You're going to be our bridge quarterback. We need you for about 2 seasons. This draft for quarterbacks, terrible. Let's see what the projected draft for quarterbacks is next year. And if it's not good, we still got you. I'd keep Sam Darnold for a couple of years until I can see what the quarterback landscape looks like to really get the quarterback in that I want. I would. There's going to be a market. Cleveland Browns, they're going to be looking for a quarterback. They may draft one. I just don't see them drafting one. If they do, I mean, it would be a developmental quarterback. But you think about it. So you're the Cleveland Browns. You're taking Jameis Winston or Sam Darnold. Now, me, I'm a big Jameis fan. But there are some who may say, I'll take Sam Darnold. If you're the Raiders, depending upon who goes off the board, do you want to bring in Sam Darnold? I mean, I think there's going to be some options for Sam out there. I do. But I'm telling you, boy, man, I'm telling you, that doggone defense tonight for the Rams was crazy. It was. Yeah, it's tough to beat a team twice, especially if they aren't in your division. I don't see the Eagles just running over the Rams like the media. I hadn't actually heard anything the media said about the Rams yet. They're just not good enough to beat the Eagles. For me, it's nothing about the media. They're just not good enough to beat them. Matthew Stafford can't move good enough Matthew Stafford cannot move good enough for the Philadelphia Eagles. They get after quarterbacks. Philly get after quarterbacks. Them boys don't play around, man. They got a pass rush. They get after quarterbacks. There's a reason why the Philadelphia Eagles, they are the number one defense in football. And if you watch them play at any point in time this year, when you watch them, you go, yeah, they're the number one team. They are the number one defense. They had the debacle against Washington. I think it was 20 points in the fourth quarter. But other than that, I mean, they have pretty much been stellar. Yeah. The turnovers, too. Yes, sir. The turnovers really hurt them. The turnovers, too. Azteca, you think this is a good matchup? Man, one of us going to be telling each other on Sunday that you were right. I don't think it's a good matchup for them. They beat them like a drum 37-20 early in the season. It's a bad matchup for them. Y'all must be, y'all living out in L.A. somewhere. Man, y'all living out in L.A. somewhere. Man, they ain't got no chance. I just don't think they have a chance against Philly. Anthony Jefferson said someone paid Minnesota big money for this game. Yeah. LaQueen, what's going on? She said when Jalen Carter finished with Stanford, he will have close to 9 sacks. Oh, yeah. You said when Jalen Carter finishes with Stafford, he will have not close to 9 sacks as well. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Tony Simmons said every part of this season is different than the latter part of the season. Different football shape and health. Well, you think about this as a battle of attrition. And the last 4 teams, the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions, they have quite a few injuries. But for the most part, when you look at the main components of the Philadelphia Eagles, they're good to go. The Rams, they are what they are. They're good to go as far as the injuries go. The Commanders, they're good to go. I mean, most of these teams, for the most part, it looks like the most of the teams that are left are healthy. But one thing that I believe in football, man, the teams that are typically dominant during the regular season, those teams that get those number 1 seeds, they get knocked off sometimes. But most of the time, it is what it is. When you get the teams and the order is right, it is what it is. It's going to come down exactly the way the NFL wants it. And the way they want it to come down is the 1 and the 2. Yeah, Ronald Crosby, I kind of mentioned that I think that Jaden Daniels, with that decimated Detroit Lions defense, he may be able to give them some problems. Minnesota knew they were going to lose. Just look how they walked up. Man, you know what, Anthony Jefferson, man, you saying something, bro. The way they walked off the field to me, maybe I'm just different, man, because I'm the type of person, bro, I would probably be crying. I mean, I lose a playoff game. I'm a grown man. I'm still going to be crying. They just kind of walked off the field like it was a regular season game, like they were playing next week. Justin Jefferson didn't. But especially Sam Darnold, just kind of walked off the field like, okay. Yeah, you said that they can do it again. And the problem for me is that they can do it again. Teams look different against certain teams. Minnesota's not the Eagles. They are not the Eagles. And you can't look the same. See, this is the issue. You can't look the same against the next team unless you are a dominant team. The Rams are not a dominant team. They're not a dominant team. In actuality, we're saying that the regular season don't matter. No, it does matter. We basically saw the same team beat the Vikings earlier in the year. So we're surprised that they beat them again. It's no surprise. It's actually no surprise. They beat them again. They're not going to look the same against the Eagles. It's simple. The same advantages the Eagles had the first time they played the Rams. Nothing's changed. The Eagles' running game is bar none. It is bar none. The Rams aren't going to hold that run game. They couldn't do it the first time. I mean, Barkley was a video game against them the first time. And the problem is, the Dallas Cowboys made the same mistake this year. When you commit everything to Saquon Barkley, this is what we did the first time. You commit everything to Saquon Barkley. Now you have no answer for Jalen Hurts. You try to commit everything to Jalen Hurts. Look, did you notice what they did to us the second time? Saquon Barkley went bonkers on us. It is hard to stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry both unless your defense is dominant. And every team that faces them in the playoffs, they're going to have the same problem. The Baltimore Ravens are matchup hell. They are matchup hell for any team. How do you stop a running quarterback and a dominant running back? How do you do it? I don't think we understand what the Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens are. They are some animals. They are two animals that nobody wants to see. I wouldn't want to see neither one of them. Why? The quarterback can run and the running back can run. How do you stop both of them? If you have a dominant defense, you can. They're going to be hard to stop. They're going to be hard to stop. On the AFC side, I do think you got actually two teams. Their defenses have been pretty much the same against every team. You got two defensive squads. Well, actually, you got three. I just don't think Houston is going to make it to Baltimore Ravens. But the Baltimore Ravens have to play the Buffalo Bills. And they undressed the Buffalo Bills the first game. I don't think they're going to undress them the second game. But Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to be hard to stop. They are. They give a team fits. They give a defense fits. That type of power gives a defense fits. How do you stop both of them? How do you do it? How do you do it? It is going to be tough. They better study a lot of film. They better study some film because you don't have last week's film. Last week's film ain't going to help you. Saquon took off a week. Don't think he should have did that. Jalen Hurts was off 3 weeks. They're going to look better this week. Both of them. They're going to look better. They're back in the swing of things. They're going to look a lot better against the Rams. They're going to look a lot better. They got dominant teams. Yeah, I saw that, Tony Simmons. Montgomery is coming back. See, this is why Detroit, even though Detroit doesn't have the defense they once had in early in the season, but what they do have is that Aaron Glenn can do just enough because the offense can score points. Detroit can score points, man. They are the one team that's in this playoff race. They can put up points. Serious points. They can run and they got wide receivers on the outside. They can put up points. And what really makes them lethal, I want you to think about this. And when I think about Mike McCarthy, I said this earlier. You think about tonight's game. Tell me the defensive coordinator for the Rams didn't make an impact on the field. He looked like Sean McVay's little brother. This dude made an impact on the field. The way he was calling plays, the way he was involved with his players on defense. That dude didn't play one down on the field. He made an impact on the field. That's what you want. Those are the kind of coaches you want. Coaches that can make impacts on the field. Ben Johnson, he does the same thing on offense. Ben Johnson makes impacts on the field. He does. He makes an impact on the field. When you get teams like that, man, you can really do some things. And so Detroit, even though they don't have their defense the way they had it before, they still got that offense. That offense is going to be ready. Ryan said Eagles are used to beating the Rams and the Packers, but that's a comfort zone for them. Yes, they will probably make the NFC Championship and lose to the Lions. Luckily, the Bucs lost. The Commanders did them solid. Yeah. The Rams are just, it just is what it is. The Eagles are just built to win. They are. Them and the Baltimore Ravens, they're built to win. And the issue is for both of these teams, the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's still ironic to me that both of them have birds as their mascots. They got a daunting task. They have a daunting task. The Ravens, I would consider the Ravens against the Bills a tougher game than the Eagles and the Rams. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to make it past the Bills. Their problem is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs because they have Patrick Mahomes. And they have a top 10 defense. And they have a run game. And they can get after the quarterback. Man, the Chiefs they're going to be hard they are going to be hard also for the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be a tough game. It is. It's going to be a tough game if they both make it to each other. It's going to be a tough game. Just like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. It's going to be a very tough game when they make it. Because even though the Eagles, they can control the lines of scrimmage. They can control the time. They can control the time of possession. Ben Johnson has a plethora of weapons, and the Eagles do have the number one defense in football. But boy, they got enough weapons, man. Ben can find weaknesses. Ben Johnson can find weaknesses. It is going to be an absolute great game. Stafford going to Detroit and playing against his old team is more headlines for the NFC Championship game. Yeah, it's not happening, though, unfortunately. NFL loves the underdog stories and drama in the playoffs. Not happening. Not happening. Because at the same time, there's another story that people would like to see, too. Now, I think the Detroit Lions story, it's not even about Matthew Stafford. I think the story of the Detroit Lions going to their first Super Bowl, that's really a really big storyline. And I think that, my son calls the NFL WWE. And in a perfect world, yeah, it would be Matthew Stafford and then Detroit beating Matthew. Or, boy, if Matthew beat Detroit, it would be huge. Problem is, it just, unless something is going to happen, it's just going to be nuclear crazy the next couple of weeks. It's just not happening. Detroit is just they're way better than the Rams. Way better than the Rams. And the Eagles are better than the Rams. The Eagles are better than the Rams, period. The only way the Rams are going to beat the Eagles is going to have to be a whole bunch of ifs. And if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If all things remain the same, Eagles are going to beat them like a drum. They have no answer for them. Detroit beating Washington. Jaden Daniels can't do it on his own. Philly will not get past the Rams. Man, are you from LA? Man, these Eagles going to beat these boys like a drum. They're going to beat them like a drum. It's going to be exactly what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be Philly and the Lions. They're the two best teams. They are. Eagles and Lions don't scream big drama. It don't, but they're the best two teams. Stafford going back to Detroit for a rematch. Not happening. Stafford's problem is, and you saw a flash of it tonight, he's not mobile enough. Man, if you can't move around against the Philadelphia Eagles, they get after quarterbacks. You're done. You are done. And the Rams, they don't have a run game like that against the Eagles. Nah, they ain't happening. Not happening. It's just not happening. I mean, we can write Hollywood on all we want to. It is not happening. Nope, Eagles going to beat Detroit. They're going to beat them. Book it. The Eagles are going to beat them. Book it. You be back on Sunday. You going to tell me, Azteca, you going to tell me I told you so. Tony Simmons said, shootout in order to beat the Lions or the Eagles. Do you have enough firepower to keep up? And I think the Rams do. No, they don't, Tony. They don't look the same against the Eagles. They don't. They look like they looked against the Vikings. They're not going to look like that against the Eagles. I promise you. They're not going to look like that. Andre, you said you can't hear me? Okay, that could be some bandwidth issues. Because I'm registering. I see all my levels. Everything is right. Azteca said, you sound like you put money on them. No, man. I didn't put no money on them. I got vested interest in the Detroit Lions winning too. I mean, I have a vested interest in the Detroit Lions winning because the Detroit Lions probably resemble more of what we want the Cowboys to look like because Dak is not going to be a running quarterback. Dak may try to get a little bit more mobile. Dak is not going to be a running quarterback no more. Those days are behind him. Rams are a different team. Yeah, they still not better than the Eagles. Ryan, I'm not going to lie. The Rams shocked me. Vikings turned back into the Vikings. They never recovered from Detroit last week. Nope, they didn't. They didn't recover. And the Rams, where they shocked me was the Rams shocked me with the sacks. That's what shocked me. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen with the. Not gonna happen with the Eagles. Nope, not gonna happen. Somebody gonna either be telling me I told you so, or I'm gonna tell you I told you so. It is not going to happen. Let's see here. Let me move past the Dak hate. Richard Owens, what's going on? He said, Jerry, that's why that's why I don't believe that Jerry will hire him. You talking about Deion Sanders? It sounds like that Jerry has been trying to get Deion Sanders, but he's not going to do it. Deion's just not going to do it. I'm telling us, man, Deion wants to win. Deion's not coming here unless he knows he can win. Deion's not, I'm telling y'all, a lot of people think Deion is about the show. No, Deion is about the show that comes along with winning. Deion isn't about the show that comes along with money because Deion is already getting the money. Deion ain't built like that. Y'all, I'm telling you, man, y'all got to hear Deion talk sometimes and just follow this man's history. Man, Deion don't believe in losing. Deion does not believe in losing. He doesn't. Let me go down here. Jared says, G, what's your thought on the narrative that quarterbacks who need a run game to win aren't elite? I would say they do need a running. They do need a running game. And if they don't need a running game, now you're going to have to tell me then how many elite quarterbacks is it? Well, how many is it? How many elite quarterbacks is it? Because then I'm going to tell you that then we don't have any elite quarterbacks except for one. And then I'm going to push back on you even harder because you're going to have to explain to me why did Andy Reid go and get Patrick Mahomes a run game? No, they all need run games. We are about to see a renaissance of the run game. And this draft is full of running backs. You are about to see this league run like you've never seen before. You're about to see this league run like you've never seen before. Daniel said, yeah, I've got some mock drafts with the Cowboys about their backup quarterback spot behind Dak, and I have them picking up Riley Leonard from Notre Dame in the late rounds. Keep in mind, they already have Will Grier. Will Grier. I'm not going to be surprised if they do not touch a quarterback at all in the draft, because I wouldn't. I wouldn't touch a quarterback in this draft. I would get a quarterback maybe the next draft, but I wouldn't get one this draft. And I don't even know if I'd get one this draft, because there are quarterbacks you can probably get in free agency. And I think also that they're going to find out if anybody wants Cooper Rush. And if nobody wants Cooper Rush, well, Cooper Rush will be back in Dallas. I won't be surprised if they really do seem to like him. They would probably prefer, I think, in a perfect world, I think they would prefer Trey Lance. Jerry likes Trey Lance. Jerry Jones likes Trey Lance. And so, Daniel Lim, I think it all depends on what happens. Free agency begins March 12th, 2025. What happens during the free agency? Will Cooper Rush get picked up by the Minnesota Vikings or another team? And will Trey Lance be a commodity in free agency? If both of them get signed, and I think if Mike McCarthy would have stayed, I think Mike McCarthy would have tried to influence Jerry to get a quarterback in the draft. But now that Mike McCarthy is gone, I just wonder if they're even going to do that. I will not be surprised. They'll have Will Grier. They'll see what's available during free agency, and then they'll bring in somebody. I think they may bring in maybe somebody that's a veteran. Because at this point, Dak Prescott is going to have to answer a question for us all. Will he be able to stay healthy? Will he stay healthy next season? And for me, I got to build my team as if Dak is going to be healthy and if he's not going to be healthy. And so in both instances, it would behoove me to start putting weapons around Dak Prescott in case Dak Prescott isn't under center the whole season. And the one thing that could help even a backup is a running game. It's a running game. Darnold may work for the Raiders. He may be a good bridge. Cleveland Browns, they're going to need a bridge. Deshaun Watson is done for the season again. And I think they're going to have to just concede that Deshaun Watson was a mistake. Andre, you saying the same thing, huh? Boy. That NFC, I appreciate y'all what the Cowboys love. Y'all do not want them doggone Eagles to win. Hey, to Zartad. Man, I'm the same way, man. I just don't think there's no way the Rams are beating the Eagles, man. I just don't think it's a way they beating them. Gee, I also want to say about the carousel throughout the NFL. I believe that getting younger, and I believe that Jerry has to have a change of heart hiring former head coaches with Super Bowl rings. I'm with you, too. I'm with you on that, man. I think that the league is changing. I don't have no problem with signing the older coaches. But I think we have to stop signing the older coaches based on what they did in the past. And we're talking yesteryear. I think we need to take their entire career in totality and look at what they looked like when they left those teams. The Cowboys got exactly what Mike McCarthy was. They got exactly what Mike McCarthy was. He's basically what he was when he kind of left the Green Bay Packers. And I think the thing about Mike McCarthy is a very good guy. I don't think he's a great football coach, but I do think he's a very great guy. I think people like him. He's one of these people, to me, he doesn't create an atmosphere of urgency. Mike McCarthy creates an atmosphere of comfortability, safety, those types of things. But he doesn't create an atmosphere of accountability. He's one of these people, and I understand what he's doing, but he creates an atmosphere of, he tries to teach young men to be responsible for their own actions. But the problem is, as a person who's been young before, all of us have been young before, some of us need more than that. Some of us are like my friend Freddie Morales. He's not on here tonight. Our friend Freddie Morales. Freddie doesn't believe in men having to be motivated. But I've been in retail management. I was in retail management for years. And I can tell you unequivocally, there are some who are just self-starters and self-motivators, and there are those people on your team, and you say, man, you ever had a person on your team and you say, man, I wish I had 11 of you. If I had 10 of you, this job would go so good. The problem is you don't have 10 of those people. You don't have 10 of the self-starters, 10 of the self-starters, 10 of the self-motivators. You know why? Because typically those people go on, they get promoted, they do other things. They do great things. They got a great attitude. They got a great motivation. I mean, all those things. But there are other people. They need to be motivated. The Bible, there's a verse in the Bible that I absolutely love. And some people don't know what this means, but it's a very powerful verse that you could even apply to life. I've preached this a few times, and it's a very powerful verse. There's a verse in the Bible, it's Jude 23. And it says something that is beautiful. It says, let me give you both verses. I'm not going to preach to you tonight, but I'm just going to show you something that you can understand about life and building teams. This is a you can apply this to team building. Jude 21 through 23 says something that is insane, man. It is insane when you read this and understand what it says. It says, keep yourselves in the love of God, looking for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ unto eternal life. So let me translate that to us, goo goo gaga. Applicability as it applies to being on a team, because he's talking about the church, which is a team. You keep yourselves in the love of God, looking for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ unto eternal life. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep doing what you do that gets you the prize. You continue to look for the mercy, and you keep yourself. See, this is self-discipline. You have to keep yourself in the love of God. God is able to keep you from stumbling, but you got a part to play too. God give you his word, and you have to keep yourself. That means you have to be disciplined. Do what you're supposed to do and keep your eye on the prize. And then it talks about how you deal with people. And you can apply this to a team. You could tell your team this very thing. Hey, man, understand what the goal is. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on it. Do the things you're supposed to do. But this is the PowerPoint. He says, and on some, have compassion. Making a difference. Wait a minute, hold on. What are you talking about? Others save with fear. So watch what he's saying. On your team, in the church, even in life, people who have children. I'm a father of 4 boys, 4 men now. And you have to deal with all 4 of those young men differently. All 4 of my sons, I have to deal with them differently. I've taught them all the same thing, but I have to deal with them differently. On some, I have to have compassion. Sometimes I got to come to my son, hey, you know what? Got to come to one of them, hey, you know what? Hey, this, and this, and this. Because I know I can talk to him like that and I can reach him. But then on some, it says, or save with fear, pulling them out of fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh. So then there are some you say, hold on a second. You don't listen. Pull them out of the fire. You pull them out and you tell them that if you don't do right, this is going to be the consequence. This is going to be the consequence. And so when you're coaching, you have to know how to coach all your players. You have to know how to coach all your players. You got to get everybody to keep their eye on the prize. But you got to coach some of the players different because they're not all the same. We all got the same goal, but we don't all think the same. So you got to work like that and work like that. And it is so tough. Everybody isn't able to do that. Everybody isn't able to do that. It's tough. And that's why for me, I just don't see, just like with Mike McCarthy, he's just not a motivator of men. Mike McCarthy is full of compassion. But he's not the one who can say, hey man, I'm going to pull your butt out of the fire. You are not going to do that on this team. You're better than this. You're better than this. Let me show you where you made the mistake. I love something that Mike Tomlin did to Kenny Pickett. They were showing the clip of it. And Kenny Pickett had made a mistake. And Tomlin pulled him in real close. And he was basically kind of like, hey, man, we got more game to play. That play is not going to define this game. I need you to get back in the game. Get your head in the game. He said, look at me, son. That play is not going to define the game. Mike Tomlin was saying something, but it was powerful. When you got a guy like, and did I say Kenny Pickett? Hold on, I may have said, what's the wide receiver? Man, I'm not familiar with these Steelers. I might have said the name. Yeah, number 14. It was George Pickens. I'm sorry. Yes, George Pickens he's talking to. And, man, he's telling George Pickens, hey, get back in this thing, man. Don't let one play define you. I've always told my sons, it's not the mistake you make. It's what you do after the mistake. What do you do after the mistake? You get coaches who can coach like that. Dak Prescott was trying to tell the team that this year. Hey, man, stop always getting. Dak Prescott gave us the mentality of this team. Someone makes a mistake on this team and it rattles them. And Dak was trying to tell the team, stop getting hung up on mistakes. There are more plays to play. There are more drives to drive. Stop dwelling on the bad play. Let's keep playing. And if we keep playing, we can win. If we keep playing as a team, we can win. Man, go out and people don't have that mentality. And every coach can't coach like that. But it's something that you definitely have to work on. Andre said if they can go on the road, no turnovers, and stop the run and play defense, they got the quarterback. Who are we talking about? The Rams? And they won't stop Saquon, the Eagles, or the Vikings. They're not. And I told you, Andre, I don't know if you remember, I had this conversation the other day. You're not who you want to be. If you have to play a team and say, if you said, if we have no turnovers, if we can stop the run, if. When you're a dominant team, how much you bet the Eagles aren't talking like this? You know what the Eagles are saying about the Rams? We're going to stop them from running. Plain and simple. We're going to stop them from running. And we are We are going to get after Matthew Stafford because we know he can't run. We know he can't get away. We are going to get after Matthew Stafford and we're going to get him on the ground. They're saying that because I would be saying it. If I'm on the number one defense and I'm playing the Rams, man, I'm a bulldog off a meat truck. I'm a bulldog. You're not catching me sleeping. I promise you, you would not catch me sleeping. I'm ready for the Rams. If I'm the number one defense, I wish I would. I wish I would let the Rams come up in this crib and beat me. I'm gonna beat the brakes off the Rams if I'm the Eagles. Some folks don't have the right mentality. I do think the Eagles, because of Nick Sirianni, they got a different type of mentality. Because I'm telling you, if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, I'm salivating. I'm salivating. I watched this game tonight. And if the Vikings would have had half a pass rush, this game is different. And you want to talk about if? Well, if the Vikings don't turn the ball over, the game is different. If they play again, do they do the same thing? They beat them early in the season. And we're saying that the early in the season stuff don't matter, but the game, they beat them early in the season. But if I'm the Eagles, this isn't even about being at home. I'm not talking no ifs if I'm the Eagles, man. I got the number one defense in the league. And when you're the number one defense in the league, you don't run around talking about if. Hey, man, if we can stop Matthew Stafford. Hey, no, we're going to stop Matthew Stafford. How much you bet their defensive coordinator is talking different? How much you bet they're not walking around talking about, hey, man, if we can stop the Rams run. No, we're going to stop the Rams from running. There ain't no if. We're going to stop them. And we're going to put this game, because if it's me, I'm putting this game in the hands of Matthew Stafford because my defensive line is about to give this man hell. This man better be praying if it's my defense. He better be praying before this game because I'm going to bring hell on earth. I promise you. I am not going to let this man stand still. I will not let him stand still. The Eagles defense. See, we keep talking about the Eagles offense and man, Saquon Barkley, they need to be worried. Jalen Hurts, they need to be worried. The outside for the Eagles, they need to be worried. But that's not the part we need to be talking about. That doggone Eagles defense is the real deal. That Eagles defense is the real deal. And I promise you, they're getting after Matthew Stafford. Willie T, man, ain't no Eagles fan on this channel. Stop it. Ain't no Eagles fans on this channel, man. Somebody going to be telling me I told you so. Somebody going to be telling me y'all told me so when the Rams beat the Eagles. It ain't happening. It's just not happening. The Eagles are too good. And I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts. The Eagles are too good. The Eagles are too good. And for everything the Rams can do on defense, the Eagles can do better. The Eagles can do better. The Eagles are going to get after. I would rather, let me tell you why I'd rather. So you give me this scenario. Who you got? Jalen Hurts escaping the Vikings pass rush or Matthew Stafford escaping the Eagles pass rush? I'm going to put my money on Jalen Hurts. Who you got your money on? So you're telling me you believe the Rams are going to stop Saquon Barkley? It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's just not happening. It's not happening. The Rams have one of the worst rush defenses, so I don't know what you meant by stop the run. The Rams are not stopping the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not. They're not good enough. This isn't about two teams that are equally matched. The only way the Rams beat the Eagles is by the if game. The if game is what we're playing. Yeah, if they don't commit no turnovers, if they can stop, if they can stop the run, there are not many teams that have stopped the Philadelphia Eagles from running. And I can tell you this, And the Rams were not one of them. they were not one of them. They were not one of them. Wilson Santiago, what's going on? Keedy boy, what's going on? Philly better not look past the Rams. I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I do not think they're looking past the Rams. I think sometimes we make assumptions about teams. But let me tell you about these good teams. They don't do this stuff. The good teams don't do this stuff, man. They don't. The good teams don't get to the divisional round and lose focus. No, they're the good teams for they're the good teams for a reason. I promise y'all, the Eagles are not looking towards the Detroit Lions. They're not looking there yet. These are the playoffs. You don't do this stuff in the playoffs unless you're us. No, you don't do this in the playoffs. It's one and done. You don't get to do that. You take care of business. What's in front of you? Man, I'm telling you. Man, if I'm the Eagles, I couldn't be the Eagles coach. I'm telling you. The Rams wouldn't be able to get off the bus. The Rams, I'm telling you, I would beat this team down. The Eagles are better than the Rams. Period. In the story. And the matchup is favorable for the Rams. Period. In the story. The Vikings and the Eagles are not the same. They're not the same. If the Eagles, that team played yesterday, shows up to the Rams, they can beat them. Not going to happen. Even that Eagles team beats the Rams because they're better. They're still better than the Rams. They're better. Man, you look different against teams when you're better than them. You look different against teams. And I'm telling you, if you don't think them 9 sacks made a difference, man, them things made that game look totally different. Did. Ryan said, if I'm the Rams, I simply stack the box and force Hurts to beat me with his arm. You can't do it. You can't stack the box and stop the running back and the quarterback. How do you do it? I mean, I understand what you're saying. If you stack the box and make him beat you with his arm, and guess what he can do? He can do that too. You know why he can beat you with his arm? Because he got great wide receivers. Devontae Smith is nothing to sneeze at. A.J. Brown, nothing to sneeze at. Goddard, the tight end, nothing to sneeze at. This dude got weapons, man. And I said this early in the season. The Eagles are built to win. They can beat you all kinds of ways. They can beat you with the home run hitting runs. They can beat you with the grinded out runs. They can beat you with the quarterback running the ball. They can beat you on the 3rd and 1s, beat you with the 4th and 1s. They can grind out long drives. They can beat you with the deep throws down the field. They can beat you with the medium throws down the field. Why? They're built like that. You don't have to be a prolific passer to do what you need to do with the weapons they have. They're built to win. They outmatch the Rams, man, on offense. They outmatch them. The Philadelphia Eagles are a matchup nightmare for any team. Any team. You keep thinking LA strong. You keep thinking it's LA strong, Andre. You just watch what's going to happen on Sunday. Man, I'm telling you. Man. Sartad, I'm telling you, man. How do you... The Rams don't have what it takes to stop this running game, man. They don't. That's why they went for 235 on them the first time. They don't have it, man. They don't have it. This Eagles team is built to beat you all kinds of ways. We got a vested interest in this because this is what I want for Dak Prescott. I want the Dallas Cowboys to build a team for Dak Prescott that's similar. Build this team to where they can beat you all kinds of ways. Run, throw, grind it out, big plays. The Philadelphia Eagles are built to do it all. I want the Dallas Cowboys to build the team around Dak Prescott exactly the same, if not better. The Detroit Lions offense are built even better than the Eagles because they said that Jared Goff can't run. So they said one running back is not enough. We got to get him 2. We got to get him 2. And we even got to make our wide receiver core even more explosive. The Detroit Lions did the same thing. They are a matchup nightmare offensively against anybody's defense. They're a matchup nightmare. And we're going to watch all this play out. Michelle Payette, he said Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry had J.J. Watt confused. Man, let me tell you something. They're even worse than the Eagles. And I won't say, we're actually looking at two different types of, we're looking at the same type of teams running, but just two different styles. Saquon Barkley is a home run hitter, bar none in the story. Saquon Barkley is that back that'll hit you for 3, hit you for 4, might get a loss. And you like feeling real good. I mean, we got this dude. We've had him all day long. And just when you think you got this dude held to 64 yards, he breaks 60 on you. He breaks 40 on you. Saquon Barkley is a different type of back. So is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, cornerbacks don't want to see him coming. Safeties, linebackers, linemen don't want to see Derrick Henry. He bigger than some of them. They don't want to see him coming. The Baltimore Ravens are a monster. You got the finesse run game with Lamar Jackson, the video game moves, the spins, the jukes, the speed, and then you got Derrick Henry, the power, the speed, the stiff arm. Baltimore's a mess, man. I'm telling you. I would love it. I just wish Jerry would have bought him here. Andre said, he said, I don't have 19K to be playing on. Man, I tell you, I'm not gambling on any of these games. That's all he said. I think that the Lions lose, it would be because Dan Campbell will do something stupid and go for it on 4th down 2 minutes. Man. Hey, Zar, you know what? I was talking about this the other day. If you're going to be the owner of the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell is your coach, you need to be prepared to understand that this is who you got. I mean, you better take your ashwagandha, your green teas, whatever you do, you need to keep yourself calm because you better get ready. Dan Campbell is going to put your team at risk. Richard Owens said Washington 17, Detroit 24, Philadelphia 19, Rams 24, Baltimore 21, Bills 13. What you got for KC? I don't think I can see the Detroit score, but I you know what? I think the Detroit Lions are going to run it up on Washington. I think they're going to run it up. I'll be shocked if Detroit don't score 34, because it might take that to beat it might take that to beat the Commanders. I'm not going to be surprised they score 34. No problem. I see you, Trey. And Jay, I'll tell you, I know that's that Dallas Cowboy love. You say, I don't like them Eagles. I'm going for the Eagles, Detroit, and Baltimore. Not because I want them to win, but because I want to see Jerry Jones look at them win. I want Jerry Jones to look at them win. And people continue to question him about, Jerry, when are you going to do that for your team? When are you going to do that for your quarterback? When are you going to do that for your defense? That's why I want them to win. That's why I want these teams I'm talking about to win. I got a vested interest in this thing. I got a vested interest in this. I want Jerry to see this in 4K. You from, okay. I want Jerry to see these jokers win. You a Cowboys fan, Michelle? Pay it. Oh, Zar said, I'm an Eagles fan. I watched them all year. There's no way they're going to lose against the Rams. Yeah, I don't think they're going to win either. I don't think there's no way the Rams can beat them. I just don't. And if they do, it will be the second. It'll be the third. Because I think the Houston Texans beating the Kansas City Chiefs, that will be the biggest upset of the playoffs. Number 2 will be Detroit, and then number 3, I think, would be the Rams. RS, I live in the Star Frisco. Yeah, I'm in this area too. New to your channel, do an amazing job. Appreciate you. Let's get Deion to Dallas. Oh, yes, I'm telling folk, man. They don't understand, man. Deion want to win. Deion ain't about this show stuff. No, Deion wants the wins with the show. Jerry ain't so much concerned about the show as he is the win and the money. Now, Deion want to win. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, though. And I'm like Willie T. The funny part about all of this is, I said this early in the season, Willie T., with everything that's going on with the Cowboys, all they're doing, we're going to wake up in about a month, and Deion Sanders is going to sign a huge extension with the Colorado Buffaloes. But if I was Deion Sanders, I'm not sure I'd want to do that. I think that Deion Sanders, if he can continue to build this program over the next 2 years, I think Deion Sanders is going to have the opportunity to go to one of the big schools. I would love to see Deion at USC. Love to see him at a Florida or an Alabama or a Clemson. I mean the big schools. That's where I want to see Deion. Because if he can get it, if he can do it there, oh, if he can do it there, oh yeah. Yeah, he'll be on his way then. Andre said, I just think it's like New Orleans when they had the hurricane, anything let them win the Super Bowl for the city. Oh, you talking about with the Rams? Man, yeah, it ain't going to happen this time, though. It's just not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen. Hey, Andre, have you been hearing about, they've been talking, man, and I'm like, there's just no way. There's just no way this is going to happen. Now they talking about Cooper Kupp as a chance for, now they talking about Cooper Kupp may be an opportunity for the Cowboys next year. No. I do not believe it for a second. I do not believe it for a second. Cooper Kupp to the Cowboys would be absolutely nice, but Jerry not going to pay that money. Jerry is not going to pay that money. It's funny, you look at the Landry hat over here, and they got the candidate, and you're going to be seeing this now, boy. We can't even get to the mock drafts yet because now we're going to have to get to the mock head coaches. So right now over on the Landry hat, 5 Mike McCarthy replacements. The Cowboys must target his next coach. They got Deion Sanders as number 5. They got Robert Saleh as number 4. They got Brian Flores as number 3. Kellen Moore is number 2, and Ben Johnson is number 1. I can tell you this. If this is Jerry Jones' list, I can tell you who he's going to get. He's going to get Kellen Moore if that's the list. But I hope that's not the list. I really do hope that's not the list. Yeah, you know what? I'm with you on that part, Azteca. You know what? Because I would not be mad as much as, you know, I'm from East Texas, the same area where Patrick Mahomes is from. I will not be disappointed if Kansas City don't go back to the Super Bowl again. I mean, it's just boring, man, just watching the same teams go to the Super Bowl over and over and over. Now, Detroit, it's going to be exciting if Detroit goes to the Super Bowl. And I think Detroit has a very good chance to go to the Super Bowl just because, 1, Dan Campbell, 2, Ben Johnson, 3, Aaron Glenn, 4, the way the team is constructed. I think the Detroit Lions have a great opportunity and a great chance. And if they do go to the Super Bowl, I think it'll be great for the league. I think Detroit going to the Super Bowl is great for the league. It is. Yep, the 2 coaches that won Super Bowls for Jerry came from college, Jimmy and Barry. Jerry said he out of friends, RS. He said he out of friends. I'm not buying the Sarkisian thing. I'm just not buying that one. But I can tell you the one that does come to mind. The one that does come to mind to me is none other than the pretty boy. And y'all probably already know who I'm talking about. Pretty boy Cliff Kingsbury. He's going to be in the running too. I believe Cliff Kingsbury is going to be in the running for the Dallas Cowboy job. I like the way he called plays. So we'll see how that goes. Why does Jerry Jones like Trey Lance? Athletic ability. Athletic ability. He likes the fact that he can run the ball. Athletic ability. That's what Jerry likes about him. It's obvious. G, do you think the Cowboys are going to bring back Lance? I think if they can, they will. Or get someone like Justin Fields. I'm not sure that Pittsburgh is going to let go of Justin Fields. If Justin Fields, what about Joe Flacco as QB2? Too old. Too old. I wouldn't want Joe Flacco. We got to see who's going to be available. The guy who I would want, he's backing up Jaden Daniels. But we'll see who's available. Sam Darnold's going to be out of everybody's price. Sam Darnold may actually get an opportunity to start. Yeah, Aaron Glenn, perfect fit for the Cowboys as head coach because and if I'm not mistaken, Aaron Glenn played here in some capacity. Defensive minded, very defensive minded, and I do think we need to build our defense up. You said G is right. You're right about Jerry should do it, but is Jerry going to take that step back and say, hey, I have to get out of my way and let the people do the work? Man, I'm going to tell you something. Steven said last week, Jerry knows he's getting old. He ain't got a lot of time. Andre, what happened to Justin Jefferson? How do you get all that money and don't show up in the fourth quarter when it's crunch time? I haven't seen him ball out yet. He's balled out this season. Only problem is, some of it I think was just play design. I mean, I'm kind of like Willie T. It seemed like to me they were trying to go for the home run too much. I mean, all these deep drops. Ron was talking about it. Why all the deep drops? How about 1, 2, 3, throw it? How about some quick throws to get this dude? You're literally getting this dude murdered back there. Ryan said the receivers of this era aren't as dominant as the ones in the 90s and the 2000s. The last one that really impressed me was, oh, man. Megatron was different, bro. Megatron was different. Megatron was different. I don't think we'll ever see another Megatron. Yeah, motivation. Yeah, I need to go to Jared and explain it to him. Man, you got to be able to allow your coach to be able to motivate like that. You got to talk to different people different kinds of ways. You do. Dak came out and said that he was bummed about McCarthy being let go, and he was talking with Clarence Hill about it, and he was not happy. Okay. I don't know what else to tell Dak on this one. I don't know what else to tell him on this one, Daniel. There's been a couple of people on that saying that the Cowboys should trade up to get in. No. You defeat. Yeah, because matter of fact, I already knew what you was talking about because I got it up on the screen right here. You're talking about this. This is dumb. This right here is absolutely dumb. Number one, you can't trade Dak Prescott to the Giants. You can't trade. Nobody can trade Dak Prescott because him and Todd Friends have a no trade clause. And I can guarantee you, Dak don't want to go to the doggone Giants. Dak is 31. He don't want to rebuild with the Giants. He's already on the team he wants to get a restock with. Dak is not going to the Giants. Playing in the cold with some of the injuries that Dak has had? No way, no how. This is dumb. I hate stuff like this. I don't understand. It's like we're the only team that people do this. This is dumb. It's absolutely dumb. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. It's crazy talk, man. I don't understand people who talk like this. Dak Prescott is going absolutely nowhere off this team. He's not. And Deion's not coming here because the quarterback actually isn't the problem on the team. They need to build a team. And bringing in Shador is not going to be the answer. It is not going to be the answer. I'm just laughing. Why does someone think the New York Giants are going to give up the 3rd and 2/4? And the Cowboys would be crazy to even take a 3rd and 2/4 for Dak Prescott. Man, you better give me a number 1 draft pick grade on Dak Prescott. Do you realize you think about how dumb is this right here? Dak Prescott right now is a 1st-round grade. There is no rookie quarterback that's going to step on a team this season and be better than Dak Prescott. And you're talking a 3rd and 2/4? You better be talking about 2 1s and 2 2s. Man, I'm the New York Giants, man. Hey, this ain't going to work for me, bro. No, this ain't going to work for me. Because my next question is, how are the Cowboys going to get up there to get Deion Sanders? They would literally have to take the 3rd and the 2/4, and they're going to have to give away the 3rd, the 4th, the 1st, and probably the 1st next year, and the 1st after that to get Deion Sanders. This is dumb. Some of these people that talk about the Dallas Cowboys, man, they cause high blood pressure in the fan base. I mean, they give the fan base high blood pressure with this stupid stuff, man. This is stupid. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Oh, man, this dude, Matt Patricia, was a menace, Zartod. That dude was a menace. I think he's one of the reasons why people don't want Bill Belichick. Because Bill wants to bring him everywhere he goes. Fangio made the Eagles D. Yeah, he's done a great job. If you run across and said, I agree with what you said, I hate the Eagles. Lil D Tex said, give the Rams as many chances as they gave Green Bay. They will lose. Yes, sir. I'm with you, Lil D Texas. USMNC, what's going on? He said, I mean, you should go to bed now. He said, I'm in the Philippines. It's 2 a.m. there, bud. Yeah, I'm about to get off here in just a minute. Ryan said, I believe the only Eagles win is if they play like the 2000 Raiders. So I'm not saying they don't have a chance with that elite defense and running game. Yeah, the Eagles are they're gonna tear up. I think they're gonna tear the Rams up. Eagles have 2 running backs. Man, let me tell you something. Gainesville is very underrated. Very underrated. He is. Keith Beecham, what's going on? He said, you're the hardest worker in the game, bro. Salute. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. Oh, Keith Beecham said, go Birds. Okay, you the Eagles fan or the Ravens fan? G-Man Press. Oh, man, let me tell you. This is the showdown I want. Lamar Jackson was a throw short of taking it to overtime last year. He got Derrick Henry. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for Lamar Jackson. The team is too good. There's no excuse. And I know who we're talking about they're playing. No, they're supposed to win. Zar said, I know that almost everyone here are Cowboys fans and hate the Eagles, but you're letting your hate blind you on how good the Eagles really are. Yeah, I mean, they're just constructed. They're constructed to beat everybody. They are. Daniel said, what do you think about someone like Pete Carroll? Yeah, I mentioned him already before. I think they ought to kick the tires on Pete Carroll and at least see what his plans are. I would kick the tires on Pete Carroll and see what his plans are. And I think Pete Carroll could build a real good culture in Dallas. I think he could build one even better, and I don't think it takes much to do. I think he could build one better than Mike McCarthy. I mean, for me, I'll be honest with you. I'm of the belief you don't have to like a coach to win. If I'm a player, I'm not interested in the coach that I like. Because if I like this coach, I need to know why I like him. What are the qualities that I like in him? Do I like him because he's easygoing? Do I like him because when I'm going through something, I can go talk to him? Do I like him because he takes the teams to the movies on Fridays? Do I like him because he invite me over his crib? He invited me to his daughter's wedding. Do I like him because of all of those qualities of a good man? I need to ask myself that. Or do I like him because he gives me the best chance to win? Do I love him because he brings the animal out of me on the field? Do I love him because he is one of these people that know how to deal with people and can bring the best out of all the team, can galvanize the team, always have a way to motivate us, and we have accountability. We built a brotherhood. We built a culture, and we got accountability. Because it's those coaches right there. It's those kind of coaches that you might not actually like the most, but you respect the most. You don't always have to like coaches. And I get concerned. I get concerned when a team that is not been as successful as they should be, they're wanting another chance when you've already had chances. And don't get me wrong, we know Jerry's been doing some shady stuff. It's Jerry Jones. Of course he has. But I do think that Mike has been his own worst enemy in some of these games. And he's made some decisions that have stopped this team from winning. Richard said KC 24, Houston 10. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Okay, Cowboys fanatic. Yes, sir. You representing out there in the SC. Czar, funny. Man, I got that as the upset of the year if the Houston Texans. And I can tell you this, that defense is doggone good. It is. It's doggone good. Yeah, man, I tell you too. I would take Cooper Kupp at wide receiver 2 in a minute. I just don't think it's going to be because of the price. Hey, Daniel, I'm telling you, I believe Jerry is going to sign a couple of big name players. I do. I think he's going to sign one on offense and one on defense. Jerry has got to make the social media age is different. You could do dumb stuff back in the day when there was no social media because we were not all connected like we are right now. Man, we so connected right now. Boy, folks be going crazy on this stuff now online, social media, YouTube. Now, Jerry going to have to do something. I think he's going to have to do something. Yeah, we're going to go over that schedule again. Boy, that schedule is brutal. Man, that schedule for the Cowboys next year is brutal. He says, I've been thinking about next year's schedule for the Cowboys and that game against KC. Man, it's going to be epic. That game is going to be epic. It's going to be in Dallas too. Yeah, see, we're from Tyler area too. Me and my wife, we are 20 minutes away from Tyler. And I grew up in Tyler. Went to school in Tyler. Now, Patrick Mahomes, he's actually from White House, which is about 10 to 15 minutes from Tyler. It's Tyler, White House, Bullard, Jacksonville. So we're all from that area. I went to high school in John Tyler and Robert E. Lee. They're not called that no more. I forgot they got these new names now. But Patrick Mahomes, he went to White House. That game's going to be packed. People going to be coming from all over Texas to come to that thing. Czar said, and since the Bengals are dumb and cheap, that means he will leave them. Yeah. They going to have to sign Chase. Yes, sir. I went to John Tyler and it was Cujo. Michael Wright. Yes, sir. Andre, when the Eagles lose on Sunday, I think the Cowboys, I don't think they're going to lose on Sunday, but Sunday, Kellen Moore without a game for the Eagles, he ran to the Cowboys. You know what? We're going to make this a topic tomorrow. We're going to make this a topic tomorrow on the show. I'm just wondering. Appreciate you, D. Kizzle. I'm just wondering. I mean, would it really be that bad if Kellen Moore was the coach in Dallas? Andre, you killing me, man. You killing me, Andre. Andre Moses said when Kellen Moore throws the game for the Cowboys, Kellen Moore will be fired and be the Cowboys' next head coach. Kellen Moore will lose the game for the Eagles on Sunday. You telling me about the pull of Dan Quinn? Dan Quinn won that Washington game bad, boy. Gilly said he threw that game. Gilly said he wanted that guy. Hey, Mariota would be great as a backup quarterback, man. He's pretty good. Yeah. I think Mariota could be a starter in this league. Man, dang it, this thing is crazy. Man, Dak Prescott ain't going to no doggone Giants. Playing in the cold with them broke bones and steel in different parts of his body. Ryan said, I also like to add Dez Bryant as another receiver that impressed me. Not enough dominant ex-receivers. Man, you know what? I don't think people, including myself, I don't think people appreciated Dez enough. Andre said, okay, what if Shedeur Sanders falls into the draft or some kind of scandal comes out on him? How to make... Man, it ain't happening. But Andre, I'm going to tell you this. I will not be surprised if Shedeur Sanders drops in the draft. The only issue is, I don't think he makes it past 6. That joker ain't making it all the way past 6. Because he ain't making it past he's not making it past the Giants. If he was to get passed on, he's not making it past the Raiders. Nah. Shedeur is not, he ain't making it to Dallas. It's extremely dumb, G, because Dak is a top 10 quarterback. It's a disgrace. And there's no way you're going to get somebody coming out of the draft that you're going to, nah, that's just crazy. I'm with you too. I don't think Shedeur is better than Dak. Nah, it would be crazy work. Man, Megatron was straight up Megatron was from outer space. Megatron wasn't even from this earth, bro. Yeah, you have to go back to somewhere like Harold Carmichael. Yeah. Man, Megatron. Shoot, man. Dude, Megatron was crazy. Boy, Czar. Matt Patricia is awful, man. Blue Star. They forget Dak has no trade clause, too. These folks smokers, man, I'm with you, man. Ain't no way. Man, Dak ain't going for this buffoonery. If you had to put your thinking cap on about the next head coach of the Cowboys, who would it be, and will Jerry step out of the way and let the new coach do his dang on job? Man, I got to do some more looking. Because I really do think the Cowboys should really take their time. I'm not talking about taking 2 or 3 months. I think that'll take their time. I mean, if I'm going for offense, I'm taking Ben Johnson. I'm spending the money and I'm getting Ben Johnson. If I'm talking defense, Brian Flores. And I don't think it's going to happen because, like I told you, I did a story on Brian Flores. I think the story is just too much for some teams. Brian Flores is rough. Rough, man. I could see like a Brian Flores. I think Aaron Glenn would be good for the team. But I do think, too, I just think they need to get younger. Get younger. These young guys, I've learned something about them over the years. This is a new age. These guys, these young people respond to young people. They respond to them. It's weird. When I was growing up, we responded to old people, older people. Not in this day and age. Yeah, not in this day and age. Man, I wouldn't touch Ron Rivera with a 10-foot pole. No way. Not familiar with the Tampa Bay OC, but no, I wouldn't want him. Lincoln Riley, nope. Kirby Smart, nope. If I'm gonna do one of these four, I go with Cliff Kingsbury. Andre, you just said it. You're probably right. It's the only way they can do it is trade Micah Parsons. It probably is the only way. It's probably the only way, but then, man. Gabe said Jerry Jones doesn't know how to spend money on coach, especially with Dak, CD, and Mike, a big contract coming up. James Slater thinks Jerry devalues head coaching position. If that's the case, who'll he get? The more Kellen Moore wins, the more you could be thinking maybe it could be Kellen Moore. But we're going to talk about this tomorrow because I'm like, okay, what would be so bad about Kellen Moore? What would be so bad about Kellen Moore? Kellen Moore would be disastrous. Okay, you just telling me straight up, Michael, right? We are a different breed in Texas. If you notice, East Texas has a big money all the time, Ryan. All the time. They do. Kellen is another yes man. That's true, for sure. Appreciate you, Andre. Yes, sir. Yeah, Ben Johnson and Brian Flores. But again, I think someone like Kirby Smart from Georgia. Yeah, Kirby, yeah. I think they need somebody young, though. This new era is different. 6 good quarterbacks were taken first 12 picks of last year's draft. They say Cam Ward would have been like 5th one taken if he was part of that draft class. If that's the case, Shador may be 7 or 8. Yeah, they don't have first-round draft grades on them. Cliff, as a head coach, is that he has had backlash with Kyler Murray. Yeah, he won't have that with Dak, though. He won't have that with Dak. And I think he's a very good play caller, too. Very good play caller. All right, guys. I'm going to go and get ready for tomorrow's show. Appreciate everybody rocking with me. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.